Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live. Tonight we will be looking at the game of Texas Hold'em poker. It is an amateur night, so tonight we'll be looking at how the game is played, the structure of the game, and to do that and to help us with that, we do have a poker expert. That's Mark Banin.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Mark. It's been a while, actually.
It has been a while, yeah. We're back together, finally.
How have you been?
Yeah, I've been pretty good.
Now, you're going to be commentating over the games we watched tonight.
I will indeed, yeah.
For those of you that haven't watched the show before, first of all, welcome. We watch internet games. Now, they're live. We're watching them as they're being played. Now, there is a 5-minute delay, so our players can't see their opponent's cards. However, we can see everybody's cards. So it's a truly great way of learning how the game is played. And by watching other people play, we can see their mistakes, what they do right and what they do wrong. And Mark will be helping us with that. Now, it's a completely interactive show, I was about to say. That means we want to hear from you guys at home. If you have any questions throughout the night or any comments, you can text them to us, 62211, or you can indeed email them to us. The email address there on the screen, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, or why not have your say? 0906 200 70 80, where selected messages will be played out live on air and discussed by our panel of expert.
Panel of expert.
Panel of expert, Mark. So yes, do get them into us. Now we can have a theme for the evening.
I don't know, are we?
Should we try and think of one, shall we, by the next break?
Yeah, let's do that.
For the first break evening, because we usually do have a bit of a theme. So tonight, actually, I do want to... we're going to be talking to Nick Sharameter from Poker Europa throughout the night, and he does, at one point you'll hear him talk about European poker players and who's good and who's not.
Yeah,
and
perhaps
so
we can ask him about those.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to hear from you guys at home who you think's a good player at the moment in Europe and who you'd put your money on, or who you'd like to play. So that's always a good one, so maybe get those into us.
Yeah, good one.
Okay, well, we're going to be watching tournaments tonight. We're going to be watching multi-table tournaments, and we're going to be watching cash games. So Mark, if you wouldn't mind taking us around the table.
Let's have a look what we've got today. And through the square window, we have a tournament table. This one is a $2 sit and go. This one is into its early stages yet there's been a bit of change already because one player's already been knocked out. So that's our first table this evening. Our second table is also a sit and go tournament. This is a tournament table, a little bigger. This one's $5, and once again, early stages of the tournament, only just kicked off with a few hands ago, and they're all vying for position at this stage. That's our second table.
Nuts flush on there, very nice.
And on to our third table. This is a cash game, and as you can see, a little cash game, 25 cent, 50 cent, maximum buying $50, 4 players sitting down, and no doubt that will usually increase as the evening wears on. So no doubt we'll have a little dip into there a little later, and 1 or 2 of our regulars on there too. Our fourth table is a multi-table tournament. This is same structure as the tournaments we saw earlier. The only difference is with this particular tournament, 272 players started it. So that's where we're at the moment, although we're down to this is I think our second level of the tournament, which means that we've already lost some players. In fact, I've just been told 208 players are remaining. So still a long way to go. In this particular example, there are 30 prizes, so still a long way to go before any of the prizes get dished out.
Excellent, thank you, Mark. Well, tonight, do remember, if you have any questions or comments, to get them into us. Where do you fancy starting, Mark?
Oh, I think those sit and goes looked ready and ripe. They only just kicked off.
Yeah, sit and go. Okay, well, let's head over to a sit and go tournament, $5. It's a good place to start, actually, to explain the game. This is a $5 tournament. So let's have a quick look first who's playing. We have Do Call Me, TJ, Puck Jr., Shaky Shark, Willmeister, Basket Aces, Miss Vova, and Palmoir at the top. So $5, all of these players have paid $5, and they've all been rewarded with 1,000 chips. So they've all started with the same amount of chips. Now it's a do to the death competition, so once they have run out of chips, they are out. The last 3 still in the game will be awarded a money prize. First place will take 50%, second place will take 30%, and third place will take 20%. Now, as it's a $5 sit and go tourney, first place will take £20.
$20?
$20, sorry, not
Yeah.
pounds. Second, £12, and third, $8. Again, not pounds, dollars.
Yeah, I believe it's 20, 12 and 8 is the breakdown.
Because it's if you think they've all paid $5, that's $40 in the pot altogether, or in the winning pot anyway.
Yeah, so lots to aim for. Of course, if you do happen to end up fourth, you don't get anything. So you have to make sure that part of the strategy for this kind of game is survival. So important to survive. And if you don't survive, it means you get nothing. So we can see one person who's get knocked out already, which is criminal really at this stage to get knocked out, but he has done. And we've lost one player already. So that'll be a little easier for the other players. Of course, the more players that get knocked out early, the easier it is on the remaining players. It means there's lots of play for the blinds. Now, the blinds do actually go up every 10 hands. They do increase, so it speeds up the tournament. So at this stage, they're 10 and 20. It means people are forcing themselves to place 20. And every 10 hands, that goes up. Next one will be 20-40, 40-80, etc., etc. Now we can see Palma probably has to push here. He's got King 2. He's got no choice. He's only got 10 chips left. So he has to put it all in. And just hope that he can double up, although he's in a desperate situation because his opponent, well, not so bad now. If a 5 comes, that'll split that pot, or a 9. So he needs a 5 or a 9 or a 2, and none of them come. So he's going to be knocked out because the 10 does play.
Okay, so how does this work, Mark, from the beginning? What are we looking at?
Well, we're looking at a tournament table.
Texas Hold'em?
This is Texas Hold'em. They get 2 hidden hole cards, which no one else can see. Of course, we can see them there, but no one else can see them. This is delayed by 5 minutes, so typically this is why we can actually see their cards. But at the time, in real time, the players themselves are the only ones that can see their own cards. They can't see anyone else's. So they've invested $5 into this tournament. For that $5, they get a stack of tournament chips, which is 1,000 in number, and they post blinds at 10. They start off at 10.20, and every 10 hands that just goes up, like I mentioned a moment ago. 3 prizes: $20, $12, and $8. And it's about survival. It's about accumulating chips. Sort of a mixture of both. And the players that can do both of those things the best are the ones that usually make it into the money. So that's where we're at this stage. So it makes it exciting. It's something to aim for. It's different from a cash game where there is no survival element. You just play your hands as you see them, and just try and maximise your cash return. Whereas this is not about so much maximising your cash return. It's because you do have to consider the fact that where you do take chances, whether that chance will knock you out of the tournament. So sometimes you do give up on marginal situations.
Okay.
Just to ensure your survival.
So, in short, we've got 4 betting rounds. 1 pre-flop, 1 after the flop, 1 after the turn, and 1 after the river.
Correct,
and on each betting round, all bets have to be even before we move on.
Yep, the people have to call the bet if they want to continue in the hand. If they don't want to call the bet or they don't want to raise, then they're saying they lose. They put their cards into the muck, and they don't continue the betting round. Well, Shaky Shark is miles behind here. Jack Flush is going to win this one.
So we're looking for the best 5 cards hand out of all 7 you will see.
Correct, yeah.
And 2 options of winning. A showdown, you having the best hand, or you trying to make your opponents believe you have the best hand and making them fold.
Exactly right, yeah.
Okay, so our first choice is going to be, do we play with these 2 cards that we've been given? Now, before the flop, you've got 2 of your 5 cards. And after the flop, you've got all of your 5 cards, and 5 of the 7 cards available. So your hand is going to change drastically before the flop and after the flop. So what can help you make this decision?
Yeah, the first, just for our new viewers, Michelle was talking about the flop, and of course the flop means the first 3 cards that come out. So you'll see you get your 2 cards in your hand, and that's the first decision you make. Do you want to play these cards? Don't you want to play? Now, certain hands are going to be better than others. Obviously, a pair of aces is the best possible hand you could start with. But it is only 1 pair, and that's the thing to remember. And obviously, as you go down the rankings, You'll have kings, which is the next best hand, etc., etc. Of course, you do have also strong non-paired hands like ace-king. Ace-queen is also a strong hand. And there are one or two other hands. Plus you have other hands like Jack-10 and other hands like that which aren't the greatest of hands. However, they have the potential of becoming strong hands once the 3 cards in the middle come down. So they have good chances of improving rather. Whereas I think a hand like a pair of aces hasn't got many options to improve.
So you're talking about connecting cards and suited cards?
Yeah, suited cards obviously means that you have better chances of hitting a flush, whereas an unsuited card means it's that much harder because only one of your cards can hit it.
Look at this, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9. If you were sitting there with 2, 3, you'd be laughing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 3 or...
You would have a full house.
Yeah, that would be a nice hand to have in that situation.
And talking about the aces, here they come. So let's have a look at how Basket Aces plays this.
Okay, well, we've got lots of hands here. We've got Shaky Shark with a pair as well. And we've also got Dockelme, who's got Ace Queen, which is also a fairly strong starting hand. But he's likely to see a raise and a re-raise here. And Dockelme will think, well, if these two people are raising and re-raising, they must have a better hand than me. And
so you would suggest the aces re-raise here?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. He doesn't have to re-raise because he may want to play it slow in order to induce. He's trying to play it tricky here, because if he re-raises, he's basically telling Shaky Shark, I've got a really good hand. So now, for example, Dockelme has fallen into the trap, and he's now got the top pair with the top kicker. So in other words, he's got a pair of queens, and he might think that he's got the best hand out there. Of course, we can see that Basket AA is way ahead in this hand. And he's
can Basket AA also be slightly worried here because somebody could have a straight, or is he not?
Yeah, he could do, although it's unlikely that...
Because he's only got one opponent.
Well, yeah, not only that, he's only got one opponent, plus the chance of someone flopping a straight with something like King 10 is... Yeah, they'd have to have King 10 or 8-10.
And would they be calling 160 raise with King 10?
That's a good point, exactly. You have to ask yourself, would they be calling a raise with King 10? And the answer is generally no. You'll get some people that will do it, but generally no, because it's just too much of a gamble. So
actually, this really helps us with talking about the pre-flop raise, because a lot of beginners ask, why are we raising pre-flop when we only have 2 of our 5-card hand? But that's a perfect way of explaining why it's an advantage to raise pre-flop, because then when something like that comes down, you can think, well, I don't think he has a straight, because I don't think he'd call my raise with King 10. Yeah,
so you do want to fish out the sort of the hands that could catch you out. So, but Basket AA took a view on it that in that particular case there's already been a raise, so the other guy's done the work for him, which means that he can be a little bit sneaky by just calling that raise and not showing his real strength of his hand. So some players do it. It's a little bit more risky doing that, because it does
somebody could catch a hand.
Because it means you're letting someone potentially in who you could have driven out of the hand. But it does mean, as you can see, now if we just go back to that screen, you can see that Basket AA is in a situation now whereby he's won a lot more than the 160 that was on offer.
Yeah.
He's actually won about another 1,500 in chips purely by being sneaky. By the same token, he could have let the other guy in cheap and got knocked out. So.
Yeah, he could have not raised at all. A lot more people may have come in, and obviously the 8s did raise. And somebody with a lesser hand could have hit a bigger hand on the flop. Yeah,
because other hands have better aces. Any pocket pair doesn't have strong chances of improving, generally speaking. So, because obviously the way a pair of pocket aces can improve is if you hit another ace.
Yeah.
And as there's only 2 left in the deck, that's not out of a pack of 52 minus the whole cards. It means that there's a lot less chance of that happening. So
now, as far as our top pair queens goes, did he make any mistakes? Did he play that okay? He had top pair, he made the bet into the aces.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation for him. That was definitely, sometimes you can do nothing wrong in poker and still be, there is an element of fortune and timing that involves. And Basket AA really played it quite well, so that he left him in a situation where he had very little option.
Well, it is his name.
Yeah.
Ace.
Absolutely, yeah. So he had very little option there, I think. He'd hit top pair, top kicker. He got the flop he wanted. And unfortunately for him, someone was sitting there with a bigger hand, and that's unfortunate and it's unlucky. Some people say, well, we could have raised with ace-queen, but then, he's got so many chips involved in the pot, he's not likely to fold to a re-raise.
Yeah.
That might be the case. That would be a better ploy in a cash game, where you have more play, but in a tournament where you're raising half of your chip stack into a pot, if the other guy re-raises you, you now have to almost commit yourself, even though you know you're probably behind and just hope you get lucky. So it was a very difficult situation for him.
Well, Miss Vova has re-raised. Tichi made a bet here where he's got top pair ace. Miss Vova has re-raised, and Tiche called, and then they both checked out the river. Now, is that because one of them had re-raised and the other had called? Miss Vova's thinking, well, I do only have a king, there is an ace out there. And Tiche is thinking there could be a straight out there. She did re-raise me, so I'll just check on the river. Yeah,
he decided that I'll just check just in case he's picked up a better hand than me. You know, it was possible. It could have ace-queen or ace-king. Of course, that would have been better. But or a smaller ace with a second pair. So, yeah, that was always a possibility. Actually,
I wouldn't mind talking to you quickly about the river bet, because there's lots of discussion on making bets on the river. A lot of people say there's no point making a bet on the river because the only person who's going to call you is somebody with a better hand than you. Is that a way you should be looking at things, or is there lots of different factors that come into it?
No, there are other factors, and one of the factors is it's important that you try and ascertain. The whole purpose of the betting pre-flop, post-flop, on the turn and on the river, especially up to the, let's say up to on the turn, is the fact that you're trying to glean information, what kind of holding your opponents have. And when you get to a situation, whilst the information is not totally complete, you should have a very good understanding of what you believe your opponent is on. And as quicker you can get that idea, then the quicker you can decide what to do on the river. Now, once you've got a pretty good idea that you've got the best hand, then most of the time, you have to be careful, but a lot of the time you want to put value bets out on the river. Okay. And a value bet is basically saying, look, I'm 90% sure I've got the best hand, I will put a bet out, and hopefully I'll get a call from the worst hand.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you're 90% sure, it doesn't mean that 1 out of 10 times you're going to get it wrong. And you have to accept that 1 out of 10 times you'll get it wrong, but let's face it, if you can get 9 bets out there and lose once,
you're not doing too badly.
You're not doing too badly. The only time you don't want to do it is where you just don't know where you are. You're not sure whether you have got the best hand or not. Then perhaps there are different thoughts. You may want to put a stop bet out there, which is a bet that your opponent will be scared of, so he won't raise, but he will only just call. You think you've got the best hand, and perhaps you're only, let's say, 55% sure. So that might be a time to put a stop bet out there. But at the same token, it really depends on your opponent. If he's an aggressive opponent, then you might just want to call his bet, as opposed to put a stop bet and let him do the betting and just call him.
Because if two people, if it's been a bit not too sure who's the best all the way to the river, a lot of the time you do see someone puts in a bet in, the other person will fold. So it does make you think if it's checked out or people have checked the turn, the river comes down, I'm going to put in a bet, see if I can steal this pot, even though I don't think I've got the best hand.
Yeah,
but that can be very risky.
It can, yeah. You've got to really guess as to what you think, whether you've got to basically ask yourself, is the guy likely to call this bet? You know, so if you feel that, you've got to say to yourself, okay, well, I'll put a bet out there of X, and then you've got to say to yourself, will he call a bet of X? Now, if the answer is yes, you've got two options. Either don't put that bet out there or bet more.
Yeah.
And then once you've decided that that is a bet, that now there'll come to a point whereby you'll say, look, ask the question to yourself, will he call a bet of, let's say, X plus 200?
Yeah.
And if he says, if you're still answering the, if you're still making it, you know, if you're still answering yes, then the best time is probably just to fold it and, you know, say that you're not going, just check it down and let him do any betting. So, you know, you've got to ask yourself, what is a bet that I can comfortably get away with? Okay. And after a bit of experience, you'll get a feel of what players you can get away with it with and what ones you won't. Every player has a different, let's say, threshold for you know what they're prepared to call and what they're not. Some have high thresholds, some are calling stations, and some are, you know, quite tight players who won't call. So you've got to know your players and decide what bet will get them out of the pot. And if that bet is going to be too much, then you've got to say, okay, well, it's not worth risking half my stack on this bluff. And
a lot of the time when people do bet on you when you're on the river, you do think to yourself, oh, I'm going to call because I know he hasn't got anything. But then you think, but neither have I, so is it really worth making this call?
Well, it depends what you call nothing. Have you got a better nothing than him? That's still the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
There's different types of nothing. If someone's got a better hand.
Oh, as Jack, now Park Jr. here has got 2 pair. This is very good for him because there's a pair on the board. Obviously, he can be slightly worried about the full house because the board is paired or trips. But because there's a pair on there, anyone else with the pair, unfortunately no one has one, but anyone else with a pair would think 2 pair, great. He's got a higher 2 pair. Obviously, because he's got the Jack 9. So in that situation, when someone else has a pocket pair, is wonderful because you can really win some money in that situation.
Yeah, so he's basically put a bet out there, and he's decided that, you know, his 2p, he's not 100% sure, of course, but he's pretty confident his 2 pair is good. Now, obviously, if someone has got a 2 in there, then it means that on odd occasions he'll lose that bet, because obviously the guy with the 2 will call him at least, if not raise him. So, but he's taking a view on it that, look, I'm 95% sure I've got the best hand here. I will put a bet out here, hoping to get called by someone with a Jack in their hand.
What do you think about Miss Vova Vova here? She's raised it to 640. Sharky Shark has gone all in, and then she's called with the Ace Jack. But did she need to call there? Could she have gotten away from that? Is it a good call?
I didn't see where it happened. Did it happen pre-flop?
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's not really the greatest of calls there, because she's put in, as you can see.
I mean, she'd put in half her stack to take it, and unfortunately got re-raised.
Yeah, well, that was perhaps the problem, because you've committed too many chips to the pot. And sometimes when you commit too many chips to the pot, then that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, you feel like you can't get away from it.
Yeah, so the initial bet was probably where it went wrong, rather than the second bet. I didn't actually see how much.
Is Ace Jack suited a good enough hand to be? I mean, it's quite a good hand. It's not a bad hand to be faced with.
It really depends on your current situation. You know, it depends. Sometimes it's not really up to you. It's up to how many chips you have and what the given situation is. So, if you've got Ace Jack and the blinds are coming round and they're going to be a big proportion of your stack, then Ace Jack is a pretty good hand to go in with.
Yeah. By
the same token, you'd say by the same token, even though the cards are the same, if the blinds are a very small percentage of your stack, and you're not you don't want to risk too much with Ace Jack. So it really depends on your overall situation.
I mean, I suppose
and the tournament situation.
Generally, people are making these huge bets and big raises with things like aces, kings, queens, ace queen, ace king. So you can be dominated with an Ace Jack. But then people also do it with 10s and 9s as well, in which case you have 2 overcards. So I always struggle with Ace Jack. When it comes around to me, especially if someone's put a big raise, I'm sitting there with Ace Jack suited, I'm thinking, do I call? It's going to cost me quite a lot of money. Don't know if I'm ahead. But do I want to put it down? Because it is a bigger hand than a lot of hands, but there's still a lot that can dominate it.
Yeah, it's not a great hand to be calling for all your money with. And but, you know, as I said, sometimes situations just mean that you've got no choice, you have to. So...
No, we'll have a look at it tonight, Ace Jack, and how people are playing it and seeing if it's working for them in particular situations. Okay. Right, 12.
Well, the 7-8.
5 players out, yes, the 7-8.
The glorious 7-8.
I have a bone to pick with you about the 7-8, Mark Banin.
Why did you not play it well the other day?
No, well, I did. Well, I didn't.
I actually went out of the last tournament with 7-8.
Did you? Fantastic. That's excellent, really.
What happened was I was under the gun, so I made a raise with 7-8. This was in the early stages. And I think it was a small blind or the button re-raised me. So I've called, because it wasn't a huge re-raise. So I've called, and the flop has come King 7-8.
Yeah.
So he's checked, which I found a bit strange anyway.
This sounds very similar to my experience.
So I bet, he re-raised me.
Yeah.
I went all in, and he called, and he had a set of kings.
That exactly the same happened to me. So it was jacks. I had 2 pairs, 7-8s. He had a set of jacks on the flop.
Yeah.
I ended up, and do you know what? I made huge raises. At the very beginning of a tournament, I was playing home. I made huge raise. He re-raised me hugely. I then re-raised him. He then went all in, and I should have known. I should have known he was. I should have thought to myself, what does he keep re-raising me with?
Yeah.
He must have a set. Or a 2 pair higher than mine. Maybe he's got Jack 7 or Jack 8.
That was unlikely, though, less likely. Yeah.
So I should have been able to fold it, but I just couldn't. And I blame you, because I wouldn't usually play with 7-8.
Yeah, well, that's just unlucky. You know, look, at the end of the day, what would have happened, you see, you can't really blame me, because let's say you had Ace-King. It could have happened with that hand. You played Ace-King, it comes Ace-King-Jack.
Yeah, that's true.
And you lose your money the same thing. Or shouldn't you play Ace-King?
I think I'll still just blame you for a while.
You just want to blame me? And in a lot of cases, you know, he won't hit his set, so you'll get paid.
2 pair again, Queen 3.
Yeah, I just think you played it badly, Michelle.
I think I did just play it badly.
No,
I should have known you had that set. This is this is talking about how sometimes it's very difficult to get away from a hand.
It is, yeah, especially when you're playing like a small tournament like this. The blinds go up quickly. You know, I'm not throwing away 2 pair, and you know, if it was a lot more play, and we were, you know, or I had a lot of chips, and there was a other situation to consider, then I might consider it. But in a fast-paced tournament like this, I'm not throwing away 2 pair. If he's hit his set, then if he's hit that, you know, that 8-1 shot, then good luck to him.
King Queen, as Dr. Tom would call the ruler of the unraised pot. What do you think about that?
No, that's James Browning.
That's James. Yes, it is. You're right, not Dr. Tom. I must quote the right experts.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that idea. The ruler of the unraised pot.
I suppose because there's probably not any aces out there.
Well,
but then there could be rag aces.
It could be.
In.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's got 4 players.
Oh, he pushed off a
in there. One
player
won't be getting any money here. So we're almost down to the money.
So this is a bubble situation.
Yeah, it is indeed. Next one out won't get anything. And then there's 3 prizes. So they're all eyeing each other up.
I hate it when I played in the bubble situation yesterday for ages. Everybody had similar stacks. I was actually the biggest stack, and I was really trying not to get involved. It was so tempting when someone went all in to think, oh, I could take them out now. But if I lose, I'm now haven't got my chip lead. And it went on forever, and I was thinking, come on, somebody's got to go out soon. And it is a situation where a lot of people hold back a bit because they don't want to get involved, because they don't want to go out 4th. They want somebody else to be pushed out.
Yeah, well, that's where a lot of people take the element of survival a little more seriously, shall we say. So
it might be an idea to start becoming aggressive on the bubble, because other people will sit back a bit.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. It really depends on the circumstances. It's not an easy thing to do, because you have got circumstances you have to deal with. So you do have to be a little bit careful with that, otherwise it could be you going out on the bubble.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a brave raise by Votavova. Accumulating some chips there.
Okay, you can see here, this is where aces can start to get into trouble, because people like their suited ace, even if it is rag, and basket aces will be the underdog if he gets into a battle with T-Chai.
Yeah, well, T-Chai will probably make a decent sized bet here, yeah.
Oh yeah, so basket can
And I think that's fair enough.
Oh, he calls.
Oh, what a horrible call that was by basket AA. Well, only a 6 is going to get him out of this one. No other card. Or an 8 will do it as well, but no.
So basket aces are losing quite a huge chunk of his stack, and T-Chai doubling up. So that's your warning about playing rag aces, ladies.
Yeah,
and
that
gents.
wasn't a good call. That was a very poor call with A6. You know, you're beating hardly anything. You know, even if you've got someone who's got a hand like, you know, you've got A6 and someone's got a hand like 5-2, you're not that far ahead with A6. You're only a marginal favourite. 60-40, something along those lines.
How much do you have to put the fact that your cards are suited into account when you're playing them?
Very little.
Yeah?
Yeah, very little.
I mean, I know it's 114
kind
to
of
1 to flop a flash.
Yeah, 100 how much?
114 to 1?
Nearly, 118.
118, I knew that as well. I don't know why I said 14. Oh, actually, that was a question I tried to ring Tom, I think, to ask him the other day. What's the odds of you getting your flush by the river?
That I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. I'll do that in a minute. I was thinking the other day, should I go all in with my flush? I wonder what the odds are with my suited cards. I wonder what the odds are of hitting it by the river. Because obviously I'm into the river if I'm all in. If something like King 4, something rubbish.
Well, it's an easy sort of way of working it out. You're about, I mean, I'll round up figures, but you're 8 to 1. Mm-hmm. So 1 in 9 times, roughly. You'll hit a 4-card flush on the flop.
Yeah.
And 1 in 3 times, you'll make it by the river. So it's about 27 to 1, I guess. Sorry, 26 to 1.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, but that's only sort of my very crude working out there. It's not technically sound, but it'll probably be close enough.
And this is a horrible situation for everybody because nobody wants to go out fourth. Everyone wants to hang in there, at least get in the money. Well, it's going to be split.
It is indeed, yeah. Kickers don't make any difference as they're both the same. So kings and tens with a queen. There's always going to be a split pot, even if the other guy had jack. Take the best 5 cards that are available to you. Well, we've got 7-8 offsuit. What's basket AA going to do? Well, he's raising, double the raise. Lots of over has been quite aggressive, so well, I'm surprised. Played quite an aggressive game so far, lots of over. Thought with a king high might do something there, but decided not to. Thought basket A is the only one that can really seriously damage her. When I say seriously damage her, it can actually knock her out. Well, that's not a bad flop for 8-9 suited. Got an up and down straight draw. And she's come out betting, and I think that's the right thing to do.
Ooh, raggy aces again. Ooh, will we see another one? Teach eye this time, although he has the flush draw. Oh, and he's hit 2 4s, look at that.
Yeah, it's worked out okay this time for Teach
And
eye.
he's flush.
So a flush for Teach eye.
So that's it, 3 left.
So into the money we go.
So everyone relaxes a little bit now and starts becoming a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a free-for-all now because they now feel that they're in the money, they don't have to sit back anymore. So
minimum bet from basket aces. Almost feels like he wants a call.
Yeah, he does. He does want a call. And I would have liked to have made this one a little bigger, trying to induce a bit more money out of him once he's called the first bet. Was Queen 7 not the highest and strongest of hands? It is susceptible to being beaten, even on the Queen high flop. So Queen 9.
Definitely seeing people become more aggressive.
Yeah, and it all goes in. The teacher, I believe, his king is winning, and he's dead right.
Unless a queen or a 9 comes, he's going to take it.
King instead.
He does.
So lots of over goes out.
3rd. And now we're down to heads up.
Yeah, very even.
Okay, now you change your play now, don't you? Now your heads up slightly.
Yeah, it's just you can't afford to lose any of these blinds, really. We can lose 1 maybe, and that's it. They decided not to waste any time. 2-7, T-Chi's moving with 2-7, trying to knock out basket AA. Doesn't work, and all that happens, he gets dramatically reduced. I'm surprised that T-Chi wanted to make a move with that hand. I think he could have waited 1 hand at least.
Now it's all going in again with T-Chi.
Yeah, they're both going to be sticking in here. Well, it's worked out okay for him. He's hit his 10, so he's taken a lead. He needs an ace or a jack does basket. And it doesn't arrive. So double up for T-Chi. He's now on 1280. And basket still has the edge, being quite substantial chip lead.
We could see T-Chi make a comeback. You never know. We've seen it worse.
Yeah. And basket A knows that T-Chi won't fold any hand. He didn't fold 7-2, so he's not likely to fold anything else. This is a nice hand for basket, and T-Chi is going to push all in, and basket is no doubt going to call. So far he's in the lead. Still in the lead. Needs a 10 or a 9 only.
Ooh,
oh, he's done it again.
Look at that. Gets his 9. See, this is how quickly it can change. I mean, it's back up to 3,000 now. All he needs to do is double up 1 more time, and he goes into the lead.
And basket A trying to get back some of his chips. And he gets back a little bit. He's back up to 5,500. And he won't be pleased.
Jack 5, Jack 4, very similar.
Yeah, it's probably going to end up a split pot if they do go to war on this hand, but I don't think Basket will go to war on a Jack 4. He's looking at it, he's thinking 1900 to win the tournament here. That'll leave me 2900. And he's called.
It's his 4.
And his 4's taken the lead. Well,
only a 5 will help.
No, a 6 or an ace.
Oh, ace 2, 3, 4, 5. He gets his straight.
That's again, he's hit the river again, T-Chai. That's 3 times we've seen him.
And now he's gone into the lead.
Well, yeah, but he won't win this one, I don't think.
All in with the queens.
Yeah, and T-Chai might take a shot at him. He did have a shot at him with a 7-2, but he didn't. And Basket might think, oh, perhaps I should have slow played that.
2-3 suited. Very interesting hand.
Yeah. Well, that's evened things up a little bit now. We're almost level again. Ace 8, he won't be pulling any punches here. Well, we just made it double. He's given T-Chai a bit of rope, but he doesn't decide to take it. He's thinking, well, that's a bit of a sneaky one. So, Basket's back in the lead, and T-Chai will be pushing in here, I'm sure, as he should do. And, well, he's taking a shot at him. He's seeing if he can get lucky this time, but he's very heavily dominated.
He's a jack.
Well, they both got the straight draw. An ace or a 5. Oh, no, 5's no good. Sorry, ace or a 6. No, so that was a poor call, really, I thought, from Basket. Jack 4, horrible hand.
8's all in.
Well...
Has to be anyway, on anything really there.
Well, he's... this is going backwards and forwards, this one. Well, he's got an up and down straight
draw.
And doesn't arrive this time, so the 8 is going to take this one again.
It is a bit up and down, isn't it?
Yeah. He's going to be making...
Fighting for the $12 and the $20.
No, he's got no choice here. He's got a call. He's got no chips left. 2, 9. Well, look at this.
It's 2 pair.
Is it 2 pair? So he needs an ace or a 4. It's another 4. Will he river him again? Not this time, no. So the 2-9 wins. So we're back up to level pegging, and Basket is thinking, well, that's justice. And sort of kind of know how he feels. I'm sure he'll be pushing with this hand, as he should. That's the right move. And T-Chai should be folding here. No, he's elected to call with a Jack 5. Needs to hit a Jack and a Jack only now.
Doesn't come. Left with 320.
So he's left with 320, and Basket is thinking, oh, about time. This should have been over ages ago, he's thinking. Oh, look what hand he's hit, and he's all in anyway, but because he can't even cover the blind. And it just gets better and better. He needs a 5 or a 3 or a 4, doesn't come. Well, he's thinking, what do I need to do to get rid of this bloke?
All in again, though.
Yeah, he's automatically all in, and he's dominated as well. Could be a split pot. If the next card comes higher, is it? No. Oh, he's hit his 5, so he's done it.
And he wins it, and he says to himself, finally.
Yeah, that was a long, drawn-out battle there for Basket, but I think he deserved it overall. I thought he played pretty well. T-Chai, they both made 1 or 2 dubious calls there, which let the other guy in. But, yeah, there you go. Very interesting.
Well, there you have it, a sit-and-go tournament. Now, if you're thinking about playing in a sit-and-go tournament, all you have to do is find a table that you fancy on whichever site you're on, and there'll be plenty of them starting up at all different cash levels. You click on the table that you want to join, and if there's an empty seat, you just click on it, and then you wait for it to be full, and then as soon as it's full, it starts. And it really is as simple as that. And generally, it doesn't take long for them to fill up, so even if you're the first person to sit down, it's usually only a few minutes, isn't it, before it's full?
Yeah, they usually end up pretty full, yeah. Pretty quickly.
And if you are trying it for the first time, do let us know. And we've got an email here from Stumper, all the way from LA. Oh, I would love to be in LA at the moment. I need some sun. Look how pasty I am.
Very sunny,
I know it's the lighting. I know I'm I'm not really this pale usually. It's the lights. What I could do with the holiday. Okay, Stumper. He says, great show as always. What do you guys do to console yourselves when you're playing a 10-player sit and go and you finish 4th? I mean, besides going on tilt, finding another sit and go, or annoying your mates with bad beat stories. What do you do, Mark?
I don't really. I think you get to a point, Stamper, where you just get used to it after a while, because let's face it, there are 10 places you could be filling. One of them could be first, could be second, could be third, could be fourth, all the way down to 10th. You're going to finish in all of these places at some point during your sit and go career. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those events that's happened. It won't be your first. It won't be your last. Just when you fancy it, when you've got over it, just go and play another one. and see if you can do a bit better. That's about it, really. There's no...
If you do feel angry, walk away.
Yeah, certainly don't. If you sort of all wound up, certainly don't play straight away.
No, I'm quite good at walking away, actually, but people generally... My dad, if he's just had a bad beat, he'll go down a bigger tournament to try and win his money back.
Yeah, doesn't really
work.
The martingale, it's called a martingale.
Is it?
The martingale way, yeah. You just keep doubling the bets until you eventually win. Unfortunately, you usually run out of money first. So.
Well, shall we have a little look at our multi-table for the evening?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, let's have a look. Okay. So a multi-table is just a bigger version of the sit and go we've just watched. Instead of there only being 8 players, there's a lot more. I think it's about 350.
In this particular one, there's 272 started off.
Okay.
So this is a $10 tournament. They all parted with, well, in fact, they actually parted with $11. $1 goes to the house, $10 goes to the prize pool. So that means a prize pool of $2,720. Nice thing about a multi-table tournament is that it means that the cash prizes are a lot larger. So because everyone's put in a chunk of money into the total prize pool amongst all the players, it means that first place will actually end up with $748, second with $476, and all that for a $10 entry. There are some smaller prizes too. If you end up all the way down to 30th, you get little over $19 for your money, for your investment. So quite a nice way to play. It is a lot harder to obviously be more successful in a multi-table than it is in a sit and go, because there are so many players to get through. And what happens is that you play across, it can be anything, let's say, however many 8s there are in 272. So you'd basically be playing something in a region of, I don't know, 30 to 240, about 35 tables, something in that area. And what will happen is you'll end up on one of the tables. If a couple of players get knocked out from various tables, all they do is close one of the tables and move the other players to the empty seats across the others. Eventually, you're left with one final table, and that's where the decent prize money starts to come in. And this one usually lasts around 2, 3, 4 hours, something in that area, and depending obviously on the number of players. So this is a stage where we've got Tall Paul in a very strong position. He's got 12,812 chips, which is a little over 60 times the big blind, which is a very healthy position to be in. If you can maintain a chip level of anywhere over 25 or plus, then you're in a fairly good position.
Do you have to be a little bit more wild in these multi-table tournaments?
Wild? No, I don't think you need to be more wild. You need
do have to concentrate.
A bit more. You need more game.
More game. You really need to be looking to make a difference in your chip stack from the beginning.
Not necessarily. You don't have to go out, straight away making moves. But you need to be prepared to take some risks. Yeah. But at the same token, there can be some players that don't want to do that, and they just want to sit tight, wait for a few big hands, hoping that someone will pay them off.
Yeah.
Of course, the problem there is twofold. One is that you're waiting for your big hand, and two, your big hand still has to get paid by someone.
Yeah.
So it's not that easy to do sometimes. But some people prefer playing that way, so that's fine. It means that they're slightly edging on the survival element, and of course. If you don't put your chips in, you can never get knocked out. So
no.
But
I mean, it's very difficult. A lot of our viewers say that they can get near to the final tables, but when they do, they find themselves very low chipped.
Yeah, that's usually because they've been playing too tight.
Okay.
A lot of new players will do that. They play tight.
So by tight, we mean waiting for the big hands? Waiting
for the premium hands, yeah. And they don't change that strategy at all. So they'll start off playing that way, and they'll end up playing that way, and before you know it, the blinds are too high, and they start getting very low stacked, and the blinds are costing them too much. So that's usually what happens when you do play a tighter game. It means that unless you catch some big hands at key parts of the game near the end, in the final third, then it means that you're going to struggle to get them to that final table, or obviously to win it. There are exceptions to that rule, though, of course. So we can see Foxy making a move here with the 8-9 suited, the suited connector. A little raise there. We can see, so what a bluff, not calling with the ace-jack. So a lot of respect given to Foxy. And there you go. That's what betting can do for you. Had the worst hand by many players, and yet still won the pot.
And this is why aggression can be a very good thing.
I believe there are 100 players left at this stage, and as I said, 30 players will actually get some prize money. The others will not. Okay,
now we talk about aggressive players and passive players. An aggressive player being somebody that bets and raises a lot, and a passive player being somebody that calls a lot, checks and calls a lot. Now, obviously, usually aggression is a good thing because you can take down pots a lot, push people off hands. But why is it such a bad thing to be calling hands all the time?
Well, because there's a couple of reasons. Part of the game of poker is that you can bet and you can raise. And if you're not doing that and you're just calling, you're never really finding out where you are in the hand. You're not asking a question of your opponent. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit like, it's a bit like a boxer to a degree. Mm-hmm. He's just taking punches and he's defending himself by taking punches, hoping that the other guy makes a really bad error where you can slip in a counter punch. And that's really what a caller does. Mm. He's just doing that, hoping that the guy makes a really big error, I end up with a big hand, and I can slip in my counter punch, which will knock him out. They're trying to do it. So, which doesn't happen very often. You will get people making a mistake, but the problem is that your hand will never generally be big enough. And by the time you get to that stage, you haven't got enough chips even that are worth worrying about anyway for your opponent. So that's why. So you're not finding out at any stage where you're at in the hand. By raising your opponent, you're actually asking your opponent whether he's got a good hand or whether he's actually just bluffing.
Right, well, we are going to have to leave this for the moment. But we will be looking at that multi-table tournament throughout the night, and we'll be hopefully watching the final table at the end of the evening. Oh, early hours of the morning, if you like.
It will be.
Right, I've got an email here from Andy. He says, hello, Poker Night Live. I have an interesting point I want to bring up. I like to play heads-up tournaments and have been winning at them regularly and have made a nice sum of money doing so. Last night I joined a $20 heads-up tournament, and as soon as the tournament started, my opponent disconnected from the site. Due to the poker site system, each hand took roughly 1 minute for him to lose. At the start, the blinds are only 10-20, so I knew I would have to wait a long time. After about 15 minutes of waiting and seeing my opponent's stack diminishing, I decided I'd start another heads-up tournament. In retrospect, I wish I'd just joined a ring game. When my absolute opponent only had a few chips left and I was deep into the other heads-up tournament, my disconnected opponent reappeared. To my dismay, I have to play 2 fast-paced heads-up matches at once. I tried my best, but have never multi-tabled a heads-up tournament before, although I can play up to 4 ring games at once. Unsurprisingly, I ended up losing both matches because of not being able to fully concentrate on each one. Getting to my point, is it the duty of the poker site to refund my 2 binds, or at least change their system, so wait an hour for someone to blind down after they disconnect? I understand that you must allow them to reconnect, but how is it fair to make someone wait up to an hour for someone to reconnect to a game? Yeah, it does sound a little bit unfair, really.
I don't think it's unfair at all. I think it's very fortunate for him that it gave him the opportunity, because you're not really waiting an hour, and because what's happening is in that time, in that hour, one thing you mentioned is that, of course, you're winning his blinds all the time without any contest. So whilst that hour's going on, he's building up his chip stack. So I don't really see it as unfair, and you take your chances. If the connection is bad, that's the way it is.
Well, they have. The Banin has told you. OK, Mark has spoken, yes. Right, well, after the break, we're going to be having Beat the Presenter, where I'll play in a tournament. So lots of commentary from Mark next. And we've got Nick Sharametta on the phone, actually, so let's go to him now. OK, well, we do have a Nick Sharametta on the phone from Poker Europa. Hello, Nick, are you there?
Hi, Michelle. Of course I am, yeah.
How are you, Nick?
Yeah, I'm very cool, very busy, running around like a lunatic as usual.
Oh, it's good to keep busy.
Too right.
Okay, now you're from Poker Europa magazine. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Sorry, say that again, please.
You're from Poker Europa. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's expanding quite rapidly. I think we've been very, very lucky. It's sort of being carried up by the boom, and we get a tremendous amount of information pumped our way. The advertising is quite buoyant because we're such a sort of small organisation. We're able to, for example, we can go up and down 4 or 8 pages at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
I've just taken on a new editorial assistant who is currently swanning it around the Caribbean at the Party Poker Cruise, and we're holding up the entire magazine to make sure that we get the results and see how the Europeans get on over there.
Lovely. So how often does the magazine come out?
Monthly.
It is monthly, is it? And what do you cover in the magazine?
Basically, we regard ourselves as the parish magazine of the poker village. That's our sort of editorial stance. We try to cover every sort of tournament of any size. We like gossip, we like news. We don't focus very much on educational material because we think that players can get that sort of stuff from DVDs and other sites and books and so on and so forth. But where we have new thinking on subjects, then we like to carry a piece about that. But we like new ideas as opposed to churning out the same old stuff, you know, about what you should do with ace king in the third position, all that.
But could I ask you, there's been a bit of confusion a little bit, Nick. Are you anything to do with Poker in Europe?
The website?
Yeah.
No, there's no commercial relationships between the magazine and the website at all. I know John, who owns the website and the Poker in Europe card room for a very long time, and so what we do is we cooperate like mad.
Right.
You know, we're good friends. I supply him with information, he supplies me with information. The only, what you would describe as commercial link is that between us we set up the European rankings, which we sort of share ownership of, if you see what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as I say, we're completely independent, we just cooperate.
Well, funny, isn't it? It's taken me 3 years to understand that. Well, I always thought you were one and the same.
No, not at all.
Right, okay, so that's cleared that up.
So what have you been up to recently, Nick, in the poker world?
Sorry?
Have you been up to anything in the poker world?
I went to Vienna a couple of weeks ago for what used to be called the European World Series of Poker Trial.
Right.
This year, for the first time, it was sponsored by Party Poker and Harrah's. They compelled the Concord to change the name of the event because they didn't like the use of the word or the term WSOP trial, and so they had to change the name of it to the Austrian Open at the last minute, which all seems a bit daft to me because the term European World Series of Poker Trial was actually a description of the event as much as the title, and it has actually been running for 10 years, and they haven't actually got excited about it, or nobody's got excited about it before.
And now it's called the Austrian Open?
It's called the Austrian Open. I think it's called the Austrian Championships or the Austrian Open. Anyway, I played in that.
How did you get on?
Not very well. I actually got knocked out by a Ben Affleck lookalike.
Oh, lovely.
I got a photograph of him at the table because I thought it was Ben Affleck. Seriously, absolute spitting image.
Why wasn't I invited to this poker game, Nick?
You didn't ask me.
You'll have to take me along to the next one.
Right, well, I'll email you with all the fancy places I'm going, or may go.
Well,
Slovenia's nice.
Pardon?
I said Slovenia's nice. I'm
Slovenia?
considering going there.
No, I've never been there.
Oh, it's cool. When I first went there, it must be about 10 years ago, it was not long departed from Yugoslavia. I think it was the first of the Yugoslavian states to get independence. And, it was kind of a rundown little place.
We'll ask you about this a bit later, Nick, because we're out of time for this segment. We will touch on that when we come back. So thank you for talking to us for now, and we will have a chat with you a bit later.
Okay, catch you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to Poker Night Live. Hope you're enjoying the show so far, and we've got another 3 hours of packed entertainment for you. We've got an email from Jamie, I believe, and this one is a text from Jamie, in fact, so let me just go through that. He's asking, hi guys, love the show. I'm 23, been playing Texas Hold'em for 2 months. Sorry, for 4 months. No, for 2 months. Wanted to know which are the best card clubs, in London? Thanks. Okay, well, the best thing to do, Jamie, rather than reel them all off, all you have to actually do is if you go to the Hendon Mob website, that's thehendonmob.com, have a look on their poker database. They actually list all the card clubs throughout the UK, in fact, throughout the world. So you can actually pick whichever area you're in, and this is for all our viewers, really. You can pick whichever area you're in, and it'll tell you which poker rooms are open with all their contact details. You can just phone them up and see what they're doing in terms of tournaments and cash games and that sort of thing. So that's how you do it. So have a little look at that and have some good luck. We've also got the Beat the Presenter, which we're going to be which Michelle is going to be taking on you boys. So we're going to be having a look at that and scrutinising her play a little later.
Sanchez says, please say hi to me. Hi, Sanchez.
Sanchez?
Can't do it to everyone though.
He got in there first.
It'll take me a while.
Yeah, okay. So earlier we were looking, let me give you some details how you can contact the show. If you want to contact the show, there are various ways you can do that. First way is by text message, and 62211 is the text number. There it is on your screen. As well as that, you can send us an email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And worth having a look at our website, which is also www.pokernightlive.co.uk. And don't forget to have your say. You can actually phone in to our studio here, and we'll replay all the best messages on 0906 200 70 80. Don't forget to press the hash key, and we'll, if it's a good one, we'll play it live, and myself or Michelle will answer your question accordingly. So, don't forget,
Probably
that's what you have to do first.
Mark.
We're going to head, sorry?
Probably more so Mark, to
Depends
be
what
fair.
the question is, doesn't it? There might be
does.
a personal question related to you.
Might be.
Might be. Who knows? So anyway, let's head back to that multi-table tournament we were looking at earlier.
Can't believe someone just stole my blinds and I let them. It's because I was talking to you at the same time.
Ah, better concentrate then.
Mr. Balls.
So we're down to 8 tables. Going to be round about 70 players. Actually, what am I talking about? 64 players, thereabouts. 60 to 64 in that area, depending on how many are missing from the other tables. And we can see that Kung Connie is looking pretty healthy at the moment. He's got nearly 19,000 in chips. So he's looking pretty good, just under 50 times a big blind. So looking pretty good there at this stage. And, well, the Jack-9 is getting a bit excited here. And, well, he's decided to raise it up and see if he can steal the chip leader's blind. And he's got away with it on this occasion with a Jack-9. It's a fair raise, I guess. We'll just take in one more hand and we'll shift tables and see if we can locate the tournament chip leader for you. So Ace Jack for locals, was it? So it's not a pretty good flop for an Ace Jack there. Not a great flop for 10-8 either, but he's won it on virtue that Ace Jack was absolutely nothing, so he had to throw it away. So we can see here that we've got T. Waits with 25,000. He's our current chip leader. And he's got a pretty good hand to be going in with. Well, big blind is called, and he's about to go out. So, small stack at the moment. He's a little over 2,000 in chips, and T-Weight just builds it up to over 30,000 now. So he's looking very, very healthy indeed. I wonder if that's that Terry Waits. I think it could be.
Pardon?
I wonder if that's that Terry Waits. You remember? The guy that was...
Yes, the big, yeah,
the big one.
not the big one, but
Yeah.
he was quite...
Him, anyway.
He had a beard.
Yeah, maybe he's gone. Maybe he's changed. You know, from to online poker. That could be the thing. So we've got Ace Jack here. This could be an interesting situation against Ace Queen. Let's see what happens here. Okay, we'll just see if what happens on this hand, and perhaps we'll dip into that cash game that we looked at the top of the show. Well, he's thinking about it, and he's folded. Wow, he's folded the best hand. And he won't like looking at that in the replay. So quite an interesting multi-table tournament. We're going to be dipping in and out of that for the next couple of hours or so, and we'll be looking at the final table at the back end of the show. So don't go too far away, because we'll be looking at some multi-table tournament action a bit later on. However, in the meantime, we're going to take a look at our cash game, and I'll be giving you some ideas about the cash game in progress. So it's a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game, $50 maximum buy-in. Well, this is some of our regular players on here. We can see Charwell, regular player, Cat Attack, another regular. In fact, I sort of recognise most of these guys. So should be interesting. We've called just a great time when pair of aces is up against all 7-8s folded. Didn't want to know. And that's a shame that you don't get creative sometimes with these hands. All right, you would have missed on this occasion, but you know, if he catches a nice flop with that 7-8, you know, he's got great chances of taking a whole load of chips from that, Johan. Not that easy to put down that kind of pair. But Charwell did want to get involved, and he would have missed anyway. But you know, you won't hit many times, but you're looking for the one time where you do hit, and that's the time that you collect chips. Well, Mogan's is dearly departed at the moment. Cat Attack having a little look with his Jack-10 offsuit. He's let Folly in for cheap with a offsuit 8-4, and that's the price you pay when you limp in with on the button. You let them in cheap, and the guy catches a hand, and now you're drawing pretty thin, even though you had by way the best hand. Folly's betting out. He was hoping to induce a bluff from Cat Attack. He didn't work. So at least it didn't cost Cat Attack so much, I suppose.
You're right there, Mark.
I'm fine. Are you okay? How's it going?
Okay. Talk very quick there.
So, let's have a look what Cat Attack's going to do here. I'm sure he's just going to throw this one away, as is Miss Chippy. Well, Miss Chippy's actually just joined the table. That's why she's posted a blind of 50 cent. Not that she wants to play 10-2, I'm sure. And everyone else just limped in on an empty flop. Everyone's missed. No one's caught a piece of that. So it just shows you three hands out there, and no one's hit a thing. And they still haven't hit the thing, even though there are 3 hands out there and 4 cards. Finally, someone hit something, and Miss Chippy's got to like that. Pretty confident that the 10's probably winning. Very good chance of 10's winning. No one's claimed to have a jack. And a little value bet wouldn't go amiss here, because he might get a call off an ace, and that's a good piece of play there. And this is what I like about that play. It's a value bet. Hope maybe someone with some kind of bad hand might call with someone with a 4 maybe, or someone even an ace high might think that they're winning. So that was a good play there by Miss Chippy. Nice value bet, will work 9 times out of 10. Must have been pretty confident that that was a winning hand. And if anyone did happen to call or raise, then most of the time he'll take down the pot and perhaps get a call off a looser player. Very easy just to check those hands sometimes on the flop, on the river. because it means that you know, you can't lose very much. But by the same token, it means you can't win very much either. And I think value bets are a very important part of cash games. When you've got a good indication that you're winning, you've got to put a little bet out there to see if you can get the other guy to call. Well, cat attack with the ace-jack. He's hoping that Charles does something with this. Well, he's limped in, and cat attack's just made a little tiny raise, which I don't really like, because you know, it's not really, all he's doing is building a pot, and he's only built a pot with a particularly bad hand. Now, he's let Charles in with a suited 9, and Charles hit a pretty good hand. You know, middle pair is not a bad flop for him, and he was hoping that, well, he tried to get him to check raise, but he was hoping that Katzak would have bet out there, and he will bet out now that he's hit the hand. And Charwell said, well, I didn't hit my flush, so I'm out of there. Well, I think that was poorly played by Charwell. If he's going to limp in with that hand and he's hit it, there was a chance that Katzak might have bet out there, but we did see him earlier play a hand particularly passively, Katzak. So even though he'd been a pre-flop raiser, he was playing passively on the flop. So Charwell should have perhaps read into that. And I'm sure he won't be letting that one go next time. Who knows, maybe Cat Attack will actually play it more aggressively next time. So, a pair of 8s against top pair of jacks for Mischiefy. Cat Attack, as we've seen, plays a fairly passive sort of game. Well, what I've seen so far. Doesn't like to be putting his chips in there. He likes to be a bit of a caller. Well, Miss Chippy is putting another little value bet in there, thinking that he might get a call. It's a little bit too heavy for Cat Attack, and Miss Chippy only had half a hand there with a pair of jacks. It was a weak hand. Top pair, but weak kicker, so I thought, right, let's just wrap this one up now. And that was another good piece of play by Miss Chippy, I thought. This is a 25 cent, 50 cent cash table, which means that blinds will be 25 cent and 50 cent. It's a no limit table, which means you can bet anything that you want up to the chips in front of you, and you can actually sit down with a maximum holding of $50, minimum holding of $5, so somewhere in between. Well, that's a pretty nice board for Queen 8, and a very loose call. Well, in fact, it's not that loose. In fact, he's got a double belly buster, a 7 or a jack will make him a straight. So that's a very hidden type of straight. And he got priced out of it. He tried betting at it and got re-raised and raised. And oh, look at that. Charles now jumped into the lead, and that's very unfortunate for Miss Chippy. It's now kings and 6s. Overtaken the queens and 8s. That was very, very unfortunate indeed. Miss Chippy has 2 pair, flopped the 2 pair, and Charwell turned the 2 pair. So that was a lucky break for him. It didn't initially look like the 6 would have helped him, but as we could see, it helped him a great deal. Made him the bigger 2 pair. So Miss Chippy was very unfortunate in that one, I thought. Well, top pair for Folly could be in trouble here, because Johan has got the aces. And, oh, look at that. It's happening all the time. And again, someone's been outdrawn on the turn. And King Queen is going to be the winner. And he's getting a little value out of Johan. And Johan, is he going to be big enough to fold this? No. He just couldn't let go of those aces. And he probably knew he was beat, but just had to see for himself. And Folly turned over the winning hand. King Queen in the hand. Trip Queens making the best hand. Beats a pair of aces. So not good for Johan there, but he didn't lose a great portion, a giant portion there. But Johan's obviously had a good game so far. He must have started with $50. He's managed to boost that up to, well, 100 a moment ago, and he's back down to 90 now. So he's still almost double what he originally started with. Well, he's back up there, Johan. Well, got pre-flop flow showing who's the tightest player on the table, and that's Swan Lee. So he's on 85%. Cat Attack was on 75. And Folly was on 65%. So gives you a bit of an idea as to how loose or tight these players are playing. Obviously, the higher the figure, the tighter they're playing. So will Twire decides not to make a button still, and Charles says, well, I've got the best hand, so I'm going to raise. And Charles will now increase his stack to well over, well, not well over, but a little over $100, of course, by courtesy of those pocket kings, which turn 2 pair. And TUI making a re-raise with the pocket jacks, doubling Folly's bet with the ace-king. Now what's Folly going to do? He's out of position on this hand. So he decided to call. He felt that $2.50 into an $8.75 pot was worth it. And he's picked up a little part of this. Now, is he going to check raise Folly, or is he actually going to... will he read this for a weak bet, or will he decide that he's out of there because he's missed? He could get a jack, which, well, a jack, king, or ace to win this flop of this board, of course, win this hand. Of course, he hasn't got as many outs as he thinks because Twire's just got 2 of them there. But he's hit an ace, which is quite a nice card for him, and Twire won't like that too much. Another turn card does it. We've seen this 3 or 4 hands now where the turn has dished out a card to make the player in second position race ahead into the lead, and it's just tied. And that's why I thought, well, there's 2 overcards there, there's a possible straight on the board now, there's flushes, all sorts of horrible stuff on there. My pair of jacks is probably nowhere near the winning hand. Charwell with the ace-7. I'm sure he won't get involved here. Been an early position raiser. Cat Attack won't call with the 3-8, nor Dockerline, and I'd like to think that Miss Chippy won't. Early position raiser of ace-6, don't like that, I must say. You're out of position. It's obviously not a blind steal. If it was a blind steal, then I can accept that he's called with ace-6. But the fact that the guy's made a position, an early position raise, it's unlikely to be a steal. And I don't really know what you want to see with an ace-6 there, by calling with it. Yeah, pair of 6s on the board. You know, I mean, there's not really a lot that you're looking for with that hand. If an ace comes, you know, it could mean curtains for you. And if an ace come, it would have been curtains for him because, you know, he had a big hand there, Folly, compared to the ace-6.
How are you doing there, Mark? You're working very hard.
No, you enjoy yourself, Michelle. You just enjoy yourself. That's fine.
I'm trying
No, I insist. No, don't. I'm telling you, you don't have to come and join. I know you want to. I'll be okay over here. I'll muddle through, don't worry.
Well, if you get stuck...
No, seriously, I'm okay. Seriously. Thank you for the offer.
Charwell with the Charwell's got an ace-queen.
Oh, thank you for that input, Michelle. Thank you very much. That was pretty helpful there. I'm only kidding. We love you, really.
It was a nice cash game. Viewers do like watching a good cash game.
Of course, in a not too distant future, we'll be seeing Michelle battle it out on the sit and go tournament that she's currently playing.
Yes.
That'll be shown a few clicks after the midnight. So Charwell looking to hit his miracle flush draw. Don't like it. He's decided to call in early position with King 4. You know, I can just about accept it if he's doing it with Ace 4 suited, but not King 4. At least the Ace 4 has got straight draw potential plus flush draw potential. But here he's got the flush draw potential, but he hasn't even got the nut flush draw potential. But he has hit top pair. And he's pretty confident now that Johan keeps checking. And I quite like this bet by Johan, actually. It's a value bet there. And On that occasion, it didn't work. On other occasions, it would have worked. And I think most of the time that will work, and he'll scoop up, if he does that 10 times, I think he'll scoop up 50 cents 3 or 4 occasions. On 1 or 2 occasions, he won't scoop it up. So, that's a net return of an extra $1. If you keep doing that, then, you have got to maximise every percentage point you can, and Johan's trying to do that. So I actually quite like that bet on the end. I think I would have preferred it to be a little meatier than the 50 cents. $1, but I don't think it made a great deal of difference in the end. The pot was fairly unsubstantial. So 10-9 for Swan Lee. He's decided to limp in, see if he can catch a flop, and he's got a pretty good one. He's got top pair with the up and down straight draw. That's he's got to be feeling good about that, and he's putting a bout there, and that's also a good play. Our flush draw potentials out there. There obviously already could be a potential straight out there already. And Charwell doesn't want to get involved, and I think that was the right play there from Swan Lee. Didn't have such a big hand that he could slow play it. There is a chance that Charwell might have bet out, but only having watched this game for 15-20 minutes, hard for me to say whether Charwell would have likely to have bet out on a missed flop. Although he didn't really miss it, did he? He actually checked it to see what Swan Lee would do. He did actually have middle pair in that scenario, but it was a scary looking board. Although he would like it if a 6 came along. That would give Charwell the straight on this occasion. Top pair for Cat Attack. And we know Cat Attack's a fairly passive player post-flop. So he's not likely to be betting out with nothing. And he's going to see if Charwell can donate a few more chips to him. Oh, that's a big bet there. Now, Cat Attack is now wondering whether he's actually got the straight. Can he be bullied off this? And Charwell knows that he's a tight player and knows he's quite passive. He thinks, well, if I put this big enough bet out here, I might just get him off it. And he has. Good play by Charwell. He charged him the amount that he thought he could get him to get off the hand, and it worked a treat. I'm not quite sure what Cat Attack thought Charwell would have that he could make such a bet like that. It was a strange sort of play because had he have had something like 6-8, which would have been the straight, why would he have bet so much? He would want to try and get him into the pot. Yet, so it was a bit of a strange bet for me. But it was scary enough where Cat Attack didn't have enough time to think, and he was getting scared by the actual physical number of it. So a good bet there by Charwell, I thought. And a little raise there from TY. And unfortunately doesn't get anything for that. Cat Attack and Dockelme are fairly passive type players, what I've seen so far. They don't get involved a great deal. Charwell was the only one that might have paid off TY. He's a bit more creative, shall we say. So it was a bit unfortunate that the blinds were on those two guys when he had the big hand. Well, they've both got the same hand here, so let's see if position is going to work. And it looks like it probably is. No, Miss Chippy's saying, I don't believe you. He's looking to catch the queen, though. Not really mad over the call by Miss Chippy. He's hoping for a bit of a miracle, and look at that. Johan read the situation where we thought you're on a draw of some kind. You obviously haven't got an ace. You might have a weak 10 or something like that. And if I put a big enough bet out there, I don't think you can call me. And he was dead right. So he read that situation really well, Johan. Well done. Miss Chippy, of course, was hoping for the middle pin straight. Of course, it wouldn't have made any difference because Johan had exactly the same hand. So we wouldn't have got anything out of him anyway. Having fun, Michelle?
Yep, it's nearly all over.
Okay.
I can't tell you what's been going on.
No. So ace-10 for Charwell. He decided to limp in. Not sure I like this play with a limp in with an ace-10. Once again, I don't really know what you're trying to hit with an ace-10. Well, I know what you're trying to hit. You're trying to hit Jack-Queen, Jack-Queen-King, but, that's not going to happen very often. Very rare for that to happen. And ace is, it's got to be worrying. So I suppose you're looking to hit a 10-high flop, really. Is probably your best bet. And let's face it, how often will, the 10 come on the flop, and how often will it come as a top pair? So, bit of a risky play there, I think, with ace-10. Much better to sort of stick in a raise if you're going to play that kind of hand. That's the same token, I suppose, if you're going to flat call, if anyone does raise round the back, then you can easily throw it away, I guess. So that's probably what was going through Charwell's mind. King Jack for cat attack. He makes it up to 50, just calls as well. Seeing a very limpy sort of game here from these guys. No one's really taking the bull by the horns.
Right, I think we're coming back from this table now.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you how I've done.
Doesn't sound too good by your voice.
Ah, you don't know.
Could be a bluff, huh?
Yeah.
Or a rebluff.
No, you have to wait and see. 12 o'clock.
Okay.
Right, that's all over and done with. We've got an email, haven't we? Just bear with me, because I've only just finished all that. Right, inbox. So how did you find your time without me, Mark?
Best time I've ever had, actually.
Have you done the one from Jamie?
I've done the one from Jamie,
excellent.
yeah.
Okay, we've got one here from Robert. Hello, Robert. He says, hi. First of all, he's from Iceland. Well, hello. It's good to hear from our European viewers. He says, hi there. My name is Robert, and I am from Iceland. I'd just like to say I like the show and have learned a lot watching. When I am playing on the internet, I always have your programme on the screen in the corner. I start playing poker on the internet in October, and I've read a book, Hold'em Poker for Advanced Players. Wow. 21st Century Edition from David Sklansky, and watch your programme a lot. Then in January, I won my first sit and go. Buy-in was $5.50, and there were 108 people in it, and I won $145.80. Well done, that's brilliant. Without a doubt, I think the tips from the show have helped me in my play. I just finished playing in a $1 no-fee tourney, and there were 834 people, and I was number 202. No money, but happy with my place. So I'm just sending this to say thanks for good tips and great programme. Well, that's a really advanced book to be reading for a beginner, isn't it?
Well, I don't think so, actually.
No?
I actually think whilst it says it's an advanced tournament book for advanced players, it's actually, beginners can actually pick up quite a lot from it. They do actually say that, at the beginning of the book, he says, look, if you're not an advanced player, don't read on. But, you can read on. I'll differ from what he says, that you can read on, and there's still a lot of good stuff for beginner players there. It's mainly for tournaments, so it is about tournaments. So there's a lot of stuff that you might have to read and reread again just to understand if you are a beginning player. But it's still a lot of good stuff for beginning players. So in my mind, it's a pretty good book. One of my favourites. So. Get a good email there as well.
I'm reading the first one of Sklansky's, Theory of Poker. Did that come before Advanced?
I believe it did, yeah. I have actually fully read that one, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really good. A lot of the stuff I find I already know, which is good because I'm just reading stuff that I've already learned, putting in a particular way.
Yeah.
So definitely a good book to be reading.
Yeah, it's a very technical book, that I know, because I've read about half of it, and it's a very technical
The only thing
book.
I find with it is sometimes he explains things to do with 7-card stud.
Yeah.
Or 5 draw, or draw, which I don't know how to play. So.
Yeah, that can be a little bit confusing
sometimes I'm reading thinking I don't understand what that point meant because I don't play that. But
I think you'll find that the Advanced Tournament Play by David Sklansky book is, for me, I think it's a much easier book to read. It's more of a layman's type book where you can really understand what's going on.
Okay, Dan from Essex wants to know what a smooth call is.
It's just a call. There's no, it's just someone that decides to call. There's no special meaning behind it. It's just someone that's decided to smooth call. It usually infers, not always, but it usually infers that the guy's got a big hand. When someone says he's smooth calling, it usually infers he's got a big hand, but it's not always the case. So there you are.
That's that. Right, well, we're going to head over to our multi-table tournament again. So let's see what's going on over there. Because I missed it because I was playing. So what's been going
Oh, look,
on?
old Terry Waits, he's got even more chips. He had about 30,000 before. He's up to 31 now. Yeah, and Rackman has got 33. 35 players remaining. So across 5 tables. So
starting to get closer to our final table.
yeah, 3 more players to go out, and we'll be condensed into 4 tables. So not long to go before that happens, by the looks of it.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Oh, won't come to me.
Look, there's 7-8 off suit. Isn't it a thing of beauty? 2 of them, side by side.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not joking. What do you mean, am I joking?
So you are being serious with the whole 7-8 offsuit being a wonderful thing?
Of course. I was watching my mate playing earlier today. I just haven't turned on and he was playing in a cash game. I couldn't see his cards, obviously, because I wasn't sitting next to him. But I saw him cash in big with 7-8. Yeah, he doesn't believe in it as much as I do, but yeah, he got a nice big pot out of it with a 7-8.
I have to say, I think it's Gan. Now, my mind's gone completely blank, so I may have just completely muddled 2 people up. But Gan, 41, who was one of the players on the tournament I've just played with, his son, or I think I've got it mixed up with someone else, but the son, anyway, won a huge tournament, and I've just found out he was only 11. And he came really well placed in his first ever multi-table tournament.
Very good.
Really high up, really well placed. So for 11-year-old,
the next thing we have to say is, should he be playing at 11?
At 11, it's illegal to be playing. So
Absolutely.
I'm assuming he's playing with his dad.
Naughty dad. Naughty dad.
He's playing with his dad as his help. Because you aren't actually allowed to play till you're 18.
Is it 16 or 18? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, actually.
I think you might be right. I think it's 18. Anyway.
So you can play as pairs on the internet, can't you? There's nothing to stop you playing as a pair.
No, there's probably a lot of people do.
I know my dad tries to tell me what to do over my shoulder. I usually tell him to
He
shut
sort of
up.
watches you, does he, and sort of guides you.
But guides me. We play very differently, me and my dad.
Does he?
And,
is he more aggressive than you?
No, the other way around.
He's tighter.
He's more aggressive than me, but he's much more looser than I am. He's a loose, aggressive player.
A loose, aggressive player.
Yeah, and it's really worked for me. He's so ahead at the moment. He's made so much money from it. But our computers are next to each other, and so he looks over his shoulder and, oh, Michelle, King 10, raise it up. I'm like, Dad, stop it. Now, he does play in five-seater tables, so it does make a bit of a difference.
Right.
That's
he's
why,
playing short-handed, yeah, so he's got to be raising it up more often.
Yeah. I mean, it can become very annoying, bless his heart. Okay, well, should we watch out this hand and then head back to our cash table?
Yeah, I don't think anything's happening in this hand anyway. So, yeah, let's head straight back there.
Okay.
There we are, back to that cash game. And got one or 2 new faces in there, well, 1 in fact. Golf Mad Chief. And we've lost Miss Chippy. I wonder what happened there. Can't see anyone with extra chips in their hand, so I assume just Miss Chippy just decided to couldn't be bothered. Oh, sorry, Golf Mad Chef there rather than Chief. Called him Chief.
Oh, here we go. When players fold.
Okay, so what do we see here, Michelle?
Well, okay, so for 126 hands dealt, Folly, 14% pre-flop, 14% post-flop.
Yeah, so he's getting quite active, isn't he, there, basically?
Yeah, very active.
Whereas we can see
Cat
that...
attack.
Yeah, that says it all, doesn't it? Like I said, he's very passive.
Yeah, he's being very passive. He's doing all his folding after the flop, and he's seeing all the flops.
Yeah, he's been very, very passive indeed. So no raising at all, just calling. So...
You should be folding in a cash game. Is it roughly about 80% pre-flop?
It should be. Not necessarily. Depends. It depends how you want to play. For a beginner, That's probably not a bad starting point. 80%, 78% in that sort of area, I think, is probably not a bad. Play about 22% of hands.
In a cash game, my average is 79.
So you're 21%. Yeah, that's a fair amount. For a new player, that's an okay. As you get, if you want to improve, you've got to play more hands.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, you know, you can, don't get me wrong, you still can make a living playing those kind of hands, but, you know, you'll need to get more creative if you want to start, you know, moving steps up.
Yeah. I must admit, I have been lately playing a lot more hands that I wouldn't used to have played.
Good girl.
It's great when you hit a monster, but sometimes you can take it. You can play a flop sometimes if you get a feel.
Yeah, well, it makes you, it does a lot of things. You see, by playing more hands, you do tend to play more flops, which makes you more experienced at playing flops by virtue of the fact that you're doing it more often. And as well as that, it also means that not only are you playing more flops, but it means that people see that you're playing more flops. And when you do hit the aces, you know, people pay you off because you think, well, it's just another hand that you're playing. They won't see it for what it is. Whereas if you play tight, all of a sudden you can't start coming out raising, then, you know, you think, oh, watch out, ace, king, aces, kings.
So if people do think you're tight, you need to know that that's how you're perceived, and then maybe start trying to take a steal and play some lesser hands.
Well, this has worked out very nice for Miss Chippy, and he's just unfortunate that Johan hasn't got much of a kicker with his hand. That doesn't change anything. Aces and fives still better than aces and twos. And I'd like to see Miss Chippy put a value bet here. That's beyond the value bet though, I think. Did he get called? He didn't, did he? No, Johan didn't call for that. I don't think. Okay,
small pairs. Are we trying to limp? Are we raising?
At this juncture,
does it matter on position?
I think you should. Yeah, at this stage, I would be putting a little raise there, and I think that's a nice bet by Charwell. Yeah, yeah, good bet. I think he's late enough that it warrants a raise. And we've seen fives a few times, haven't we? This time, Miss Chippy has it.
Now we see the sevens. So
yeah,
calls the raise from the ace-9.
Yeah, I don't even mind a raise there by Miss Chippy.
Oh, he gets his set. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah.
Now. I mean, no one else has anything, is the only thing?
No, there's no straights on board at this stage. Potential straight draws, but no straights. If someone had 8-9, that would be good, and he likes that. Quad sevens.
Wow.
He's got nothing to fear now. He's just wondering, well, with quad sevens on the board, how do I get paid? Because there's another card that people would have missed at.
6-9 takes a pop at it. I don't think 6-9 will try it again. No,
Miss Chippy is wondering, you know, whether he could possibly be in the lead.
It's a shame Charwell went, because if he'd hit his ace on the end, he would have Golf Mad Chef would have got some money out of Charwell.
Yeah, he's trying to bulldoze his way through his folly, and he's completely missed. He's had a little go at it, and Golf Mad Chef has decided that his quad sevens is warranting a little raise.
I think he played it quite well. He just kept checking you, let them come in, and you had the nuts.
Yeah, it was. It looked like the sort of board that Folly would have been drawing to, and he was praying. I think Golf Mad Chef was praying that he hit an ace on the end, so he gets paid. But we could see that that wasn't the case, so he was a little bit unfortunate. Now Cat Attack is playing my hand. He decided to limp in, and of course gets called by Miss Chippy. So another limp. And Johan is trying to take advantage. You know Cat Attack's passive. He says, well, if Miss Chippy had a hand, he'll be raising. So I think if I put a big enough bet here, I can take this one. And he's read it perfectly. Again, he's a very solid player, that Johan. He always seems to know where he is. So seen some good play here by a few of the players, actually. I like the way Johan's played. I think Charles played a good game. And I quite like the way Miss Chippy has played too. The others have been a bit, I haven't really seen enough of them so far to give you an expressed opinion. They're playing a little on the tighter side. Swanley's been playing fairly conservative. Folly's been playing a bit too loose. And TY's been playing on the conservative side. And Golf Mad's only been there for a few hands so that I've seen, so I've reserved judgment on that one. Katak's been playing very passively, which I just don't think is a way to play cash games. Well, does anyone have a 9? Yes, they do. Swanley's got it.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10 jack. So it's actually just 7, 8, 9, 10 jack. 6 doesn't come into it.
Yeah. He would have preferred not being a heart on the end, but he probably knows he's ahead. Miss Chippy can't call this. So every card out there is a potential scare. There's a 1 card straight, so he knows that he's probably losing. Well, calling with the King 10. That's the only thing I would say about Miss Chippy's plays. Calling a little bit pre-flop, a little too much for my liking. I'd like to see a little more aggression if you are going to call with these kind of hands.
King 10 deciding not to bet.
Yeah, the problem is that if a jack comes, then he's going to be in a world of hurt. So he just needs to read the situation. That's not, you know, whilst he's got a nice hand, it's still a hand that he needs to, you know, if they want to draw to their middle pins and their straight draws, then make them pay for it. And I think that would have really, he should have done that pre-flop, post-flop rather than on the turn. He wasn't really strong enough to do that at that stage, and you never know, he might have got a little bet out of TY with a couple of cards to come and no paired board. So Folly's decided to raise it up with the ace-7, playing his raggy ace aggressively. And if you're going to play it, then that's the way to do it, I think. He's got called by the King Jack. Cat attack is a caller. And if cat attack checks here, Folly should definitely be putting a bet out regardless of whether he's hit a flop. He happens to have hit middle pair. And because we know cat attack won't do anything unless he's actually got something. So all we can see so far is that cat attack going lower and lower. And that's the problem when you just call. That's generally what will happen. Your chips will you'll win some hands, of course, but the actual graph will show a trend of going lower and lower.
We'll raise on 3-4 suited for Johan Harren. Will the 4s come in for the action? Yes.
He will, yeah. He's not likely to hit a 4 with Johan having one of them, though. And Johan will get this check round to him, and he can now try and represent that ace. He bet out like he had the ace, and that's a nice bet. And he's going to take this one down, I think. Because Miss Chippy, he's thinking, well, what did you raise pre-flop with?
Well, when you do make that bet out on the flop, what's the right kind of bet there? You're looking at a pot-sized bet?
Yeah, you're looking at a pot-sized bet there at least, I think. James will have different views on that. James likes to make it around 3/4 of the pot. But I think you need to, 3/4 of the pot doesn't sometimes scare people. Basically, you want to look, it's a very simple way to look at it. You have to look at your opponent, know how your opponent plays, and say, what bet can I achieve my goal with? If I want to get him out of the pot, what bet do I need to make to scare him off the pot?
Sometimes, though, the pot can be quite large, and you're thinking, I'm not quite sure I'm ahead. If I make this bet and I get a call,
well, that's the thing. That's part of your judgment, isn't it? That's where you have to judge. And that's why you have to ask yourself, will this bet get him off the hand? And if the answer is probably not, or I don't think it will, then don't make the bet.
Yeah.
There's no point doing it half-heartedly. You either have to make the bet to scare him off, or don't make it.
Sometimes you are tempted to put in a smaller bet and hope that does the trick, and then you get into trouble.
Yeah, and all you do is just leak chips. You know, that's not the way to play. It works sometimes, but you have to have a particular scenario for that to happen. The board has to look really scary, and your opponent must only have a very small part of it. So small that he doesn't really want to get involved. So we've seen so far some very good play by Johan. He seems to be playing really well. He's come a long way since I remember seeing him in the early days. He was always a solid player, but now he's winning pots by virtue of his skill rather than his hands. And so, and his skill has definitely come up to a good extent. So he's playing a good game as Johan.
He'll be pleased to hear you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, credit where credit's due. Always nice to see players progressing over the course of the period that we're on and have been on.
A year?
A year, yeah. No, I haven't been on a year, but...
I haven't, but the show's been on a year.
Having said that, it's pretty close to my annual. I think it was about April or May. So I'll be 1 year old soon. You wouldn't have guessed, would you?
1 year old?
Yeah. I could probably pass for 2.
I was about to say I'm the baby, but I'm not.
You're not?
No, because Cara's the baby.
Who?
Cara,
Oh,
I think
yeah,
is our
of course.
newest member. There's someone else come
Yeah.
along since then, I can't remember.
No, no. Kara is the baby of the bunch. Came, I think, about the same time as John Clark.
Yes, because they used to work together with the backgammon.
Yeah. Although we do have Johan. I'm not sure if he's a newest member of the team yet, but he's been on once or twice.
Johan Harren.
Not Johan Harren, but Johan Eld.
Has he?
Yeah, have you not seen him?
No.
Ah, a Swede. Yeah, we have a Sweden, a man from Sweden.
Nobody told me. Is he cute?
Is he cute? And ask the boys in the background, they'll know much more about that.
I'll work with him.
What about it, guys, in the back room? Is he cute, Johan? Do you like him?
Oh, look at this. Not much except for our two King Jacks and King Jacks. Oh, it's not a very nice hand, is it, King Jack? I don't think. I never know what to do with it. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to have it on the button.
Yeah, on the button.
And this is an interesting bet by Dwyer. I think the problem was that it was a little bit on the weak side, so he has to really put out a decent bet here. But Johan is going to. Let's see how Johan plays this according to what Dwyer does. Well, he's put out a pot-sized bet. Now, Johan, he's decided to call. He's got position. He thinks, let's see if the guy's prepared to put all his chips in.
It'll be interesting to see if one of them can push the other off with the same hand.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Johan does if Dwyer does decide to put his chips in. He doesn't. Well, that's weakness now. I'm sure Johan will pick up on that, and he's probably going to bet the exact amount that Dwyer's got. Well, a little bit over. He said, have you got a hand? I don't think you have. I think I've got the best hand. And if not, I've got position on you, and look at that.
Can't call this, can he?
He can't, no. Isn't that that's an expert, another expert player, I've got to say. I know this is starting to sound a bit sick, but that's an expert, really is a very, very good play indeed by Johan. He always seemed to know where he was in that hand, so that was really good.
Well done, Johan.
Yeah, another well done.
Ace Queen, King Jack again, this time for cat attack. And we've got a pair of eights for Swanley.
I might have to change tables so I don't have to keep saying, well done, Johan. Yeah.
I know, it's good.
Getting a bit repetitive,
isn't it? It's good to see somebody doing the right thing, because we can talk about that.
Well, he's gone beyond doing the right thing. He's actually, he's reading the game very well.
Well, this is a good board for a pair of eights. Couldn't get much better for the eights. Now, Swanley may put Miss Chippy on an overpair. Yeah, it does.
That's weak, isn't it? Yeah, he's been playing very...
If you're going to play with a pair of eights and you're only going to play if you hit an eight, I mean, he's got an overpair there.
No, you're quite right. And not only that, he's got a straight draw too. A six will make him a straight.
Yeah.
So no, that is weak play, I've got to say. You know,
don't. There was a raise, a 4 times big raise before the flop. Don't play it hoping you're going to get your set, because you're not getting odds to pay that raise to try and get a set.
You've played a pair of eights, and that is about as good a board as you can hope for a pair of eights. I mean, it's a great board, isn't it? He's got a straight draw, and he's got an overpair.
Yes, Swanley. Right, well, we're going to leave this here now because we are heading off to a break shortly. We do have an email from Chock-a-Block. It says, hi folks, great show, been watching for several months now and been playing online for the last few in a mix of 25, 50-cent cash games, limit and no limit, plus $5 and $10 sit and goes with a decent level of success. Talk of tracking software earlier this year opened my eyes to this world, and I found some Mac-compatible software that seems to do a similar thing. This evening I won a 500-plus seated free roll, which is my first multi-table tournament success, and think I played a good mix of hands and styles on a site where the tracking software doesn't work. Getting on to my question, are you planning to show any tables that are Mac compatible? All the sites you currently cover seem to be PC only, and I'd love to play on the Poker Night Live tables and get some comments on my play.
Chock-a-Block, get yourself a PC, mate.
Get yourself a PC.
If you can afford a Mac, you can afford a PC. That's what you need to do.
Right, well, there you go. Sorry about that. That's all we've got. We're going to Nick again. We've got a phone call from Nick Sharametta, and then we'll have a break. And after that, well, what is it, Mark? It's my tourney.
Is it?
Yes.
Should be interesting.
So we'll see where I come and if I can keep up my winning record.
Is it going to be a good one?
You'll have to wait and see, so make sure you come back. But for now, we're heading over to say hello to Nick again. Okay, well, we do have Nick Sharametta from Poker Europa back on the line. Hi again, Nick.
Oh, hi again, Michelle.
So actually, we'll just take off there where we left off before the last break, and you were talking about playing in Slovenia.
Slovenia, yes. It's a cute
Slovenia.
little place.
What would you say is the best place you've ever played poker?
Sorry?
Where would you say is the best place that you've ever played poker?
Let me think.
In his living room, probably.
Yeah, before all the public card rooms came along, my Sunday afternoon game used to be extremely profitable. But there you go. No, I like Vienna, to be perfectly honest. I quite enjoy myself there.
What about...
Barcelona's pretty hot as well. I like that.
Yeah, Barcelona's lovely. Barcelona's
it's a
lovely.
superb place. You know, good restaurants, sun shines, everybody's nice. You know, the games are good. So, no, I can get there very easily from where I live. You know, it's just a hop and a skip on an aeroplane and you're there, you know.
So, talking about a hop and a skip, something's a little bit further and there's a little bit more water to cover, is the Atlantic. So,
yes.
What about the World Series this year?
Well, I won't be going,
Uh-huh.
but we'll have 3 people there. The maximum number of passes they allow, press passes, is 3. And so I'll undoubtedly have sort of 3 people there looking after what the Europeans are up to. I mean, our main focus is really how the Europeans get on.
Right.
So
how did you end up covering it last year? And will you be making a lot of changes to it this year?
We'll try and do it better. We'll probably try and get a computer program written so that instead of doing it all by hand, we'll be able to sort of tot up the figures as we go.
Uh-huh.
I had 3 people there last year, and we basically give comprehensive coverage of every European who gets in the money.
Right.
And then tot it all up, and we try to analyse it by nation and that sort of stuff, so we can sort of say, right, most successful Europeans at the World Series this year were, you know, handled like that. And of course, I've got people on the ground coming up with off-diary stories and that sort of thing.
Right.
But for me personally, it's a bit of a holiday, you know, because I don't go.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a resting period for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It does go on longer and longer every year, though. It's getting a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that, in fact, because this year, of course, they've got they're talking about 8,000 players, 4-day day ones, and the whole thing goes over 13 days just for the actual main event.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that's going to encourage people to go or scare a few people off?
I'm not sure what's going to happen. I mean, everybody's predictions over the last 2 or 3 years have gone straight out the window. I'm not quite sure whether they're being a bit optimistic, saying they're going to get 8,000 players. Having said that, I wouldn't be surprised. 13 days is a long haul.
It's a long old event, isn't it? And they've obviously got a new event there as well, which they've just introduced this year. It's the horse event, $50,000 buy-in.
Wow.
I don't know if you think there'll be many UK or European players playing in that. What do you think?
It depends if they're satellites and qualifiers and so on and so forth. I mean, horse is a very specialist event, and it's not the sort of thing that the new players are going to stray into. It's a bit strong even for the sponsored players to get involved with. I wouldn't be surprised to see a small but select field.
Yeah, of course, for the viewers out there that don't know the horse event, obviously we're talking about horses. Stands for Hold'em, Omaha, Raz, Stud, and 8 or better Omaha. So high-low, Omaha, high-low.
Which to win that, you've got to be an all-rounder.
You have got to be an all-rounder, and you need, you need to be a pretty solid player and had quite a few years' experience under your belt, and that will probably determine who the best poker player is, really, wouldn't it?
I would say so, yes. I mean, there's going to be far less chance coming into that event than in the World Series, the main event itself. That you know, somebody could put their hand up and say, hey, you know, I won the 50,000 horse against the best players at a range of games, and one could justifiably say, well, you know, he sort of actually demonstrated an all-round ability over a period against the best people for a load of money.
Yeah, that probably really makes the best poker player. Yeah.
Well, Nick, that's all we have time for this second segment. Thank you for your views there. We will be coming back to you again a third time, if that's okay.
No worries, baby, no worries.
Okay, we'll speak to you soon, Nick.
Okay, cheers, hon. Bye.
Okay, well, we're going to a short break now. We'll return with some more poker action. So Mark and I will see you then. Good evening, welcome back to Poker Night Live. It's now the morning, I think.
It is.
We're in the early hours. Good morning to everybody. Welcome back. I've got some emails here. We're going to do these first, and then we'll head over to a sit and go tournament. This is an email from Simon, aka Tirade. He says, "Hey Prince and Princess Michelle." Oh, I'll take that on. Yeah. He says, "Great show. Hope you've done well in the sit and go, Michelle." Well, we will find out shortly. He says, "What I wanted to ask is, in your opinion, is it better to make moves early on when the blinds are low, yet will be prone to be called right down to the river, or to wait till later levels? Various poker books give different opinions to this, yet Mark has played large multi-table tournaments, so would be interested to know his views."
Okay, well, large multi-table tournaments. I think you need to, I personally like to open up in the first part of the tournament. Nothing too loose and nothing too silly. I mean, I've sort of played around quite a lot with multi-table tournaments over the last couple of years. I used to be a very tight player in my early days, and then went to being extremely sort of loose aggressive in my sort of second year, if you like. And then I tend to sort of change it now a little bit. I'm sort of a mixture of the two. So, but I do like to loosen up in the early stages, trying to catch flops with nice hands and hopefully outdraw people, because that's basically the kind of hands that I'll be playing. So that's really what I think is the better way of playing. Because part of the thing is survival, but part of the thing in the early stages of accumulating chips, and when the blinds are really low, for me, that's the best time to do it. So, but everyone has different views.
Yeah, this is true, and we've spoken about this at length, actually, on Poker Night Live, about strategies in sit-and-go tournaments, and it does make sense to be a bit looser early on, because it doesn't cost you as much to see the flops. If you do hit a monster, it could accumulate you quite a lot of money. Whereas in the late stages, when the blinds are big,
you can't really do that.
You need to wait for the better hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing to remember, of course, is that without going into too much detail at this stage, you basically need to know your player. So at certain times you won't be able to be too loose because there's just too much action pre-flop. So it is about knowing your players and knowing who you can get bluffs out of, and knowing who you can't. So that's an important part to try and pick up as quickly as possible. Thanks,
Mark. We've got an email here from Adam. He says, "Hi, my name's Adam, and I just started playing poker about 3 months ago and play a couple of hours per day. I entered my first free roll tournament yesterday morning and finished 423rd out of 4,381. Wow, that's really not bad going at all." He says, "I busted out with ace-ace against ace-king and queen-queen. Flop came down with a queen and flush draw for ace-king. Flush draw came out, leaving me with one pair aces. Called after the turn with nothing but a pair of aces. I decided to play another that night, which was 11,305 people, and I finished 759th. So you're really not doing too badly here. So it's called for all in after the turn with a flush draw, but never got the flush. Had a high card also with a flush draw. For a beginner, is this a good result? And also, would you have done anything different?" Well, Mark's the guy to ask.
Well, I'll take the second one first, the 11,305th. It's very hard to say without knowing a bit more information. Would I call with a flush draw? I wouldn't call for all my chips with a flush draw unless I was short of chips, then I might just take that risk. If I'm fairly okay with chips, then I won't call for all my chips with just a flush draw, unless I've got 2 overcards as well. So that's one thing. With the first situation that you mentioned, it doesn't sound like you done anything too wrong. You had aces. They got cracked by queens and by a flush draw. You don't know what they've got at the end of the day, so you've got an overpair to the board. So, you're a bit unlucky by the sounds of that. So I wouldn't beat yourself up too much about it. It doesn't sound like you've done a lot wrong, and for a beginner, you've done really well indeed. So keep at it. But remember that it is a long process. Just because you have 1 or 2 early starts, it is a long process, poker. So you're always learning, always picking things up. So just keep at it and let us know.
Excellent, thank you, Mark. Well, if you do have any questions for us or comments, do remember the way to contact us. You can text, that's 62211, here it comes. And you can also email, the email being poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. There it is on your screens. And why not have your say? That's right, you can call us on 0906 200 7080, and selected messages will be played out live on air and discussed by our panel of expert. That would be Mark.
Panel of expert.
Right, well...
Here we go, Michelle. Drum roll.
Well, are we going to go to multi-table first or to my tournament first? Right, should we
Okay.
go to me and then we
Let's
can have
go
a
to you.
final
I
table
wanna
of the
go to
tournament,
you,
right,
yeah.
okay. Because you haven't seen me play yet, have you, Mark?
No,
Need one of
no,
these?
I haven't seen Michelle play yet.
Right, here we go. Let's hope I do better than last time, because I would come 8th last time, but I did have a pair of aces.
Okay, so we first hand. Here we go, and
I am Chip Nurse at the top right, and I have Jack 7, and I'm not going to play it.
absolutely. Why would you? So far, Gan 2-4-1 playing the Ace 10. Ace 10 suited. And well, it's not a bad flop for an Ace 10 suited. Not the right suit, mind you, but 2 pair will do. And Gan won't, whilst he's got 2 pair, he won't want to slow play this. And quite rightly so.
Yeah, so I'm playing against Gan, who I thought was my dentist but isn't, and Belgarion. Hay says hi, Elsa Cat, 24 Ginger, X Bud X, and Howick Balls. You, may I say, stole my blinds.
Well, it's up to you to let him.
Tiva.
Shouldn't let him.
Shouldn't. I can't remember what it was. It might be here. It was here. And do you know what? This is when we were opening the show. And he went to steal my blinds. And I probably would usually raise with the king nine just to see if he really has anything or he's stealing. But we were opening the show at the time, so I just folded.
Oh, I see. You naughty boy, Howick.
I know. And then he
Thief.
showed his Jack 6, Mr.
Yeah.
Balls.
Thief, huh?
The thing is, though, I play a lot of tournaments where you start at 1,500, so usually I've got enough to be able to say, hang on a minute, mate, and re-raise him back. Whereas when you haven't got that many to re-raise him back, it's starting to cost a lot.
It is going to cost you, that's right. Yeah, you have to, every decision can be a winning or a losing decision. So, yeah, absolutely right. Can't afford to make any mistake here. We're in a multi-table tournament with decent play, of course. You can make 1 or 2 mistakes and still get away with it. But here it's very hard. You make a mistake here and it's very dangerous from that point.
Not that we're having a go, Howick. You see, it worked for you and you won, and that's a good thing, that's good play. Oh, apparently it's pronounced Hoik. Hoik Balls.
Well, shouldn't spell it with the A then, should he? We're going to call him Howick Balls. As long as he spells it with the A, we're going to call him
Can I say
Howick.
something here as well? If I ever get another rag queen, I'm going to scream, because I had about a million rag queens in this presenters
A million?
tournament.
A million?
Telling you
Are
a
you
million.
sure? We'll count. We're going to count the rag
Let's
queens for
count. I've
Chipness.
had 2 already, I think.
I haven't
Or
seen
1.
2.
Well, I just had one there. So
No, that's 1.
Okay, so that's 1. Let's see how many I had, because I just remember wanting to scream, because I had another rag queen.
Okay, and let's see how many times your rag queen would have won as well. That's important.
Yeah.
So, flush draw for Gan, as well as that. He's also picked up the straight draw now. She's going to like this. I think I would have liked to have seen a raise there from Gan to see where he stood. Ginger didn't really show strength on the flop, so could have possibly taken it from him, but anyway, he hasn't. A little bit difficult. It is difficult to do that with these chips because, like I said, 1 false move and it's costing you your entire stack. And 24 Ginger might have called in with that. I don't know.
It's so interesting to watch it back. Honestly, it's really.
Look, a rag queen for Howick and a rag queen for Belgarion.
Belgarion.
You see, they get rag queens too. Not just you.
We'll probably see that I only get about 2 or
But
something.
considering there's 4 queens in the deck, you know, there's another rag queen there. Look.
King, queen.
Oh, that's not such a rag queen, is it?
Right, that's not rag queen, but I can't remember what I did. I think I called and then there was a
So
raise.
you've had 1 at rag queen and 1 at good queen. But of course, you have to remember there's more rag queens out there than there are good ones.
Yep.
So we'll count that Queen 9, Queen 8, Queen 7 are sort of middle queens.
I think it's me against Gan here. Oh no, else the cat comes in.
So you've just limped in with the...
I've limped because...
You're hoping for a cheap flop.
Yeah, I didn't really want to. I didn't really want to raise with King Queen to be honest.
Okay.
I thought I'd try and limp and see what I get
All
on the
right,
flop.
that's fine. You're in an early position. You don't want to. You've still got 5 players to act, so I don't mind a limp from that situation. And you can get away with this away from this board now.
Well, this is it. I thought sometimes you think, oh, I can try for a little steal because I've got two over cards here, but then you think he only needs 1 pair, and even if I hit a king queen, I don't know where I am. So I thought, oh, you know what, he can have it. I don't want it involved. I haven't got anything. I probably won't get anything.
Well, Gan betting his flush draw, and Didn't need it in the end, as he had the winning hand, so that was good enough. Howick Ball's raising it up with the ace-10.
Yeah, I vaguely remember him being quite aggressive, actually, which is good.
Yeah, now what do you do with your ace-jack? You throw it, I take it?
I throwed it, yeah. And it turns out I was ahead.
Yeah, it's
I
difficult.
really thought about this for ages. I was trying to think, do I want to play this now or not? Because
Yeah.
usually with an ace-jack,
I
I want to
you.
be the raiser.
Yeah,
If,
no, you don't.
if there wasn't a raise before me, I would have raised it there. But because he did, I thought, what's he raising with?
Yeah.
So I've already a made pair, or it's ace-10, ace-jack, ace-queen, ace-king. And I've only got ace-jack, so I think I'll leave it. If there's play left yet, I'll wait.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that play. We can see that just because you can see that you've got the best hand doesn't mean that you should be calling with it, and I think that was right. So a pair of 9s for Howick. He's had a couple of hands here, hasn't he? And X-Bud-X with the King-Queen. He's raising from the small blind. Howick is wondering whether he should re-raise, and he does. He's played an aggressive game, so I don't think he's going to be one to play a passive game.
I'm all in. Very early stages to be all in with a king-queen. I don't think I'd want to risk my tournament life on the king-queen.
No, I agree.
And it doesn't pay off, and he goes.
No, off he
Very
goes.
quick.
Pair of 9s is the overpair to the board.
So
and
for
the
Hoyk
best pair out
balls,
there.
that's a nice little double up for the beginning
Yeah,
stages
which
of the game.
doesn't bode too well for you, really, because last thing you want is an aggressive player around you
tell me
doubling
about
up.
it. And here's 9s again.
But at least he's... this could be interesting. Now, what's he going to do here? He's seen a raise and a re-raise. He's not going to re-raise here, I don't think, because these are early position raisers, so he's either going to fold or call. He's got 2,000 chips.
That's a good fold, I thought, from Hoyk balls.
Yeah, he thought about it well, and also the fact that he just won a pot, probably didn't want to give them away too quickly either.
I mean, that's it. A raise and a re-raise in early position, you're sitting there with 9s. You've got to put them on high cards or a high pair.
Yeah, well, it's not only that, it's the fact that he doesn't know what Bulgarian is going to do. And if he re-raises again, he's just thrown away 240. So
second rag queen, let me tally up.
No, 7 isn't a rag. It's a middle. It's a middle queen.
All right, well,
middle to,
well, I'm talking about middle to rag queen.
Well, seeing as there's quite a lot of them, then you're bound to hit a few.
Yeah, but I didn't hit anything else as much. I just remember getting really annoyed that I had another rubbish queen. So I'm tallying.
But you had a king queen a moment ago.
Yeah, but I'm not including them ones, am I?
Yeah, but you have to include the good ones as well
as
the bad ones.
This is my own head thing, all right?
Don't blame your cards on the lady, that's all I can say.
Look, game hasn't finished yet. Excuse me.
King queen for Gan, he's raising it up.
Just
I like the raise, I just don't like the minimum raise, that's all.
Works though?
It worked on this occasion, and in fact, it was just as well for Hay, says High, because he would have been in a situation that he was dominated. So
I think I tried to limp in here a bit.
Yes, you did. And you got re-raised by the ace-jack here, didn't you?
I went, nah.
Yeah.
Because I've only got 8-17 now, I'm thinking...
Yeah, no, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that play, I don't think.
Do you know what, at that point as well, if I'm coming in for 270, that's so much of my stack.
Yeah. I mean, you could have been the initial raiser if you wanted. I'm not sure Bulgarian could have re-raised you, but he did have position on you, so he may well have done. Hay says hi. Not going to play this Jack 5. He's already seen a limper. 24 ginger with 4-6, and that's a nice flop for Howick. And not a terrible flop for 24 ginger. He's got an inside straight draw. He needs a 3 to make a straight. And see, what's Howick going to do here?
Hoyk.
Howick. He's got an A in it.
Hoyk.
And that's not the card he wanted to see, 24 ginger. He really hoping to see a 3, because that's the only card.
The problem for Hoyk was here is for him to get paid off by Ginger, Ginger has to get something. The only thing he can get is a 3, and that will put him ahead of Hoyk. So you can't really win, can he? Although he manages to get 80, which isn't bad. I'll put this down now, I think.
Well, 24 ginger's wondering whether it's worth sticking 80 in to try and catch a 3. And little did he know, it probably was, because had he have caught that 3, he would have got the rest of Howick's chips. There's no way Howick would have laid that down. So implied odds were huge, yeah.
8-9, I'm in terrible position, so I got rid of it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair fold, I think.
I'm only going to play rag aces in late position, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Bulgarian doesn't follow the same suit, and he's raising with his ace-8.
And it worked for him.
And it worked, yeah. But he had 1 or 2 positions closer to the button than you. But makes it a little bit easier.
Oh, there we go again. Queen 5. That's 3. On the big blind. I thought about stealing, and I just thought, no. Not stealing, I thought about raising to see if Gan had anything, but then because he'd come in...
I don't like the call, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm on the big blind.
Yeah. You're on a big blind?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. OK, no, that's fine then. So did you just check?
Yeah, I checked because Gan has come in of his own will in early position for 40, so he's probably got something.
Yeah.
So I don't need to raise or try and take that off him with a rag queen.
No, that's
there
fine.
we are again. That's 4.
That's not a rag queen.
Well, it's a middle to rag. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about under 10. Under Queen 10 I'm talking about.
Under Queen 10? Well, that's 9 cards. Oh, no, sorry, ace queen. So 8 cards.
With the queen?
Well, considering there's only 13 cards in each thing, it's bound to be
I know.
many rags, isn't there?
Well, the reason I'm doing it, Mark, isn't to have a go. I'm doing it because in my head I remember getting really annoyed at having a bad queen again. And I class Queen 9 as a bad queen. I class anything 9 as bad. Just in my head, that's how I play. I class it as good and bad rather than good, okay.
But that's
right,
only in your own mind, though, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is only for me. So everyone else, just please completely ignore me with my little tally. There we are again. That's 5.
But that's not, is it? But own good. It's for you want to show everyone that you've got all these rags, queens.
Yeah.
You want some sympathy from us.
I don't want sympathy.
You do.
I just remember thinking it in my head. So I thought, right, I'm going to count.
You do.
I remember getting annoyed.
You do want sympathy.
Right, give me some sympathy. I'm getting rag queens. Look, kings for Ginge. Nobody's got anything else though. Oh, except now we've got a flush draw.
Flush draw and a pair.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got straight for Gan.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good.
That's an excellent flop for Gan. No one's going to put him on 3, 4, even though he is in the small blind.
Gan's got the straight, Bulgarian's got the flush draw and the pair, and over pair for Ginge. I wouldn't be surprised if they all had it here and go all in. They've all got viable hands.
Good lay down for the kings.
Well, that was incredible, wasn't it?
Really good.
That was an amazing lay down.
Very well done, Ginge.
Yeah, that was. Well, look at that. He's now in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, and Bulgarian got the flush, and Gan went out, and I felt a little bit sorry for him because he did have a good hand. The flush was there,
Yeah.
but he made the huge raise, and I think that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Unlucky for Gan.
It was. It was terribly unlucky.
But that's poker. As I get a 10-7.
So 2 players out in the 2040.
I'm losing at the moment. That doesn't mean nothing.
Not
I
yet.
can come back from the dead.
You're going to come back?
I mean, I am wary of the fact I have the least chips.
So do you realise that Bulgarian, just to clarify something, you do realise Bulgarian just now had a worse queen than yours and won?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, just thought I'd mention that.
I missed the last. No, so 5 on that. Right. 9, 10, Jack, King. So a gut shot for Elsa Cat. Not much going on for Ginge. So I bet he will take it. Ginger put it down, takes down the pot. Can't call with ace high. Queen 10, I can't count that. It's another queen though. How many queens do I want? Ace Jack suited. Dealer, nice steal here. Decides to limp.
Just an interesting fact for people. Let me just double check that before I'm pretty sure that's... Yeah. Well, it just shows you, actually, 24 Ginge actually laid down in that situation. He only had a 6% chance of winning that hand.
Wow.
So he was so far behind. So that's a first-class laydown. Because it wouldn't have been that easy. He did have a raise and a re-raise, but it still wouldn't have been that easy. So he done really well. And obviously, the straight was the big favourite there, 60% favourite, and with a queen 6, 34%.
Weak balls. Puts in a raise here. Does he? Can't do the 3, 4. He's got the stealer. Doesn't know folds. And I check. and I've got 2. And do you know what? This hand is ridiculous. I should have bet it. But in my head, I think Bulgarian's got something. Now, he's come in to play, so I think he's definitely got better cards than me, but has he missed? I should bet. But well, I thought maybe he's got something and he's not betting, hoping I'll bet at him, because I haven't been playing much. So I think I don't want to get jiggy. And I nearly did bet. But I honestly thought Bulgarian had something and he was waiting for me to bet at him. I don't know why I thought that, and I was wrong.
You're sort of looking...
I'd misread it. But...
You're looking for trouble. That's the thing. Sometimes if you're too expectant that people are trying to trap you.
That's what I thought.
And you can't play poker that way. You can't play expecting that everyone's got a hand that they're going to try and trap you with.
Yeah, this is what I thought. I mean, we checked it to the end and I took it, and I thought, why didn't I bet that? He checked it twice to me.
Yeah, you
probably would have tried to put in a bet if he had something.
You wouldn't have been too happy if he had caught a queen or jack on the end, would you?
Exactly. And not only that, I was thinking, if he did have like a high cards in his hand, he probably would have raised it pre-flop, so I'm probably good.
Yeah, once he's checked that flop, I think it's fair due to you to have a go at it.
So yeah, it was a mistake
on that
there.
turn. But it doesn't matter, you've still got the chips anyway.
Yep. Where am I? Second to last. Ace queen. What do I do? Can't remember. I'm thinking dealer button I'm going to raise, and then ginger raised, and I think I just folded. Yeah.
Yep, that's fair enough. Don't blame that. It's either a fold or a raise. There's no calling. Yeah. Because it's just too big a part of your stack.
And again, because he got in there before me, I thought, fair enough, you can have it. Jack 5.
I personally would have probably gone for the re-raise, I think, but...
Yeah.
Personally, yeah. With ace queen. Ace jack I probably would have folded.
The only problem I have with that is he's putting a raise of 320. And if I want to go for the re-raise, I'm putting in most of my stack for ace queen.
Well, all of it.
All of it. Yeah, I'm going to be in there for everything.
Yeah. The question
with an ace queen when someone's re-raised
the question I would need to ask, I didn't really look at it that clearly there, but the question I would ask is, if I re-raise, can he afford to fold? Has he committed himself to this pot? Now, if he has committed himself to this pot, then there is a slightly more chance I'll fold. But if I feel that there is a chance that he can still fold, then I might well re-raise.
Whereas at that point in time, with him raising in that position, I was thinking, I don't want to risk my whole tournament on ace queen right now.
And also, I think it would have been easier for you to do it. It's a bit different for me because people are more likely to call my bets. But they're less likely to call your bet.
I think I re-raise here, or do I just call?
Yeah, no, that would have been the right thing to do, I think.
Yeah, I re-raise. I do think he calls me.
Okay, he's got position on you, so it means that...
This is what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking, damn it, now I have got I have got a gut shot, so I'm thinking I'll just bet it. Yeah. I think I check or do I bet? I can't remember. I think I bet. Or he bets and I re-raise, I can't remember.
I don't think you've got enough to re-raise, so I can only assume that...
This is the one, actually. I bet, and I thought I was all in. You know when the button comes up, bet or bet all in, and you can press the button, it'll put you all in? That's what I thought I was doing.
All right.
And so when I saw I had 250, I thought, But then I thought maybe that would help my case and he'll fold. And he did.
So a good bet by you, I thought. You got the good thing about that bet was that you were very unlikely to make the draw of the 10 coming. Was it a 10 you were missing, or whatever middle pin you were missing?
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is that even if he did call, you still had some outs to win.
Yeah.
You had an ace or a...
So I did mean to be all in there. But...
So yeah, you done well there. That was a good piece of play by you, I thought. I would have liked a little bit of a bigger bet when you made the 320 the re-raise.
Yeah.
Just to scare him. Well, Bulgaria.
So it's helped my case a bit anyway.
Yeah. So you're in good stead here.
So I'm a little bit happier. I can chill out a little bit.
Yeah, this is a good flop for Bulgarian.
Still only got about 9-10 big blinds though. All right. Right, I think we're going to see some pre-flop folds quickly. Interesting to see what mine are. Ooh, look at me, Miss Tighty Pants.
Yeah, you are.
Didn't really
you
have
are
it.
little tighty pants. That's right.
I haven't had any hands though.
13%. It's like James Browning.
Yeah, it's very tight.
Yeah, having said that, James will probably be on about 100% by now, I think. So,
I've had a load of rag queens though.
I'm gonna get that piece of paper.
Can we go back to
Roll
the
it
game
up.
now? Oh, look, 50% of played hands won there. Is that good? Not
Yeah,
bad.
very good. No, 50% is good.
Well, I've just put down an ace 10, I think.
You did indeed, yeah. You do have an ace 10 and you folded it, early
To
position.
a raise early. Happy enough to do that.
No one's got much of a hand here. 24 Ginger, what's he going to do with his, I dare say he'll probably be shoving his chips in and hoping if he can take that 160, and he does. And that's the right play. If he happens to walk, if he happens to have a bigger hand than that, then that's just bad luck. Oh, he's called it with a king queen, so he's got a worse hand. So he's got a worse hand to call, and he needs a heart or an ace. And he doesn't get it. Well, that's very unfortunate for 24 Ginger. I thought he made the right play, but sometimes you can make the right play and it still makes you lose. So very unfortunate for Ginger there. I thought he played generally pretty good. He made a good laydown, didn't he, with the kings?
Yeah, I think I pressed the little fold button for me king 4 on the small blind, because you can start getting yourself into trouble when you start raising from the small blind.
Well, you couldn't call there anyway, because he raised anyway.
Yeah, but I did it before I saw the raise. I'm thinking to myself, before I can even make the decision to try and steal a big blind in first position.
Are you going to steal it
nothing. Here? No. I think because yeah, look.
No, Howick is running over now. People. He's a raising machine, is Howick.
Yeah, he's Mr. Bully to me, right.
Well,
I'm thinking, great, I'm losing all my big blinds. I can't wait to get a hand and he tries to bully me. Mr. Balls.
Well, ace-8 is in a lot of trouble and he gets called. Well, and he's running straight cards or an 8 to hit, and that's not one of them. Or a 6 or a 4 now will help him. And Jack comes instead, so that's aces and Jack. Sorry, Jack, pair of jacks, pair of 3s, 2 pair.
Right, now we bubble, and I'm thinking bubble with 970.
No, your favourite for the bubble.
I'm favourite for the bubble, and I was thinking, right, get me a hand, get me in there, get me doubled up.
He's just going to bully you now.
Yeah, he does.
He knows that you're on the bubble situation, and he can be cool.
I thought, I'm not calling for all my sack yet. I'll hope to get something better next turn and go all in.
Yeah, there you go. He's sending you a message.
And I would have been a huge underdog.
Into that situation, yeah, you would.
So and good choice.
He knows that you can't only come back at him with a hand, and even if you do have a hand, it's still not put him in particularly bad shape.
It actually gets quite interesting, actually. I fold this one, because I think, no, don't get involved. Just wait for the hand.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's a pretty bad hand, isn't it?
Is it this one? No, fold again, 5-8, don't get involved. You've got another hand yet before you hit the blinds. Hopefully you'll get something better.
Yeah, that's fair comment. And even if you hit 240, you're still not terrible. You've still got 650 left.
Yeah, I can still
So
hang
you're not in a terrible, terrible shape.
I'm thinking, don't be bubble. Got to get in the money. Stats have got to be better than the other poker pros.
It's better than mine, regardless. I think I'm the worst.
And then 8-5 again. I thought I'm going to have to fold it. And then I'm on the big blind. And I'm right, I have to. This is very interesting.
Oh, the blinds have just gone up as well.
Yeah, I'm on 10 jack.
10 jack suited.
So I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to make a move. I can't. You know, I always get the hearts mixed up with spades. I thought I had 10 jack of spades. And I thought...
You did. This reverses it.
Pardon?
The software reverses it. You did have 10 jack of spades.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh. What did you do that for?
So 320. So we're going to see Chip Nurse push her chips in.
Yeah, I do, but I should go all in, but I can't remember if I made him say. Oh, no, I did, yeah. So I thought, right, now's the time, I'm all in.
Okay.
Well, I thought 10 jack, I've hardly got any left. I can catch something here.
Well, there's nothing to think about here. I don't know why
I hit my 10, yeah.
And you hit your 10, well done. Yeah, you've done the right thing, I think. Dangerous? Well, say you've done the right thing. It was dangerous.
I really thought about that for a while before I did it. I was kept thinking, what should I do? I don't want to be bubbled.
I mean, it's not clear cut that it's the right thing. I can understand why you did it, because in effect you weren't raising, you were just calling.
Yeah.
Even though it was a small raise, the guy would have had to call you, so he was guaranteeing to call you.
But I knew I was on the small blind next, and I thort, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to go for it and hope to catch something.
It's a fair hand to do that with. Yeah, it's 10 jack suited. It is jack high. That's the only problem with it. That's the only problem with it. And you do need to take risks. You know, otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you. So you took a risk.
Now I'm thinking this is great because I'm back up there. I can win this. Bring it on.
Well, Bulgarian has got his wish. He's got 2 pair, and as long as a queen doesn't arrive, it doesn't. So it means that Bulgarian will
Yeah, that annoyed me.
double through.
No offence, Bulgarian, but I wanted you to go there. No, I think it's here. No, it's not. Because something very interesting happens. And it would be interesting to get your comments, and I shall tell you why I did what I did.
Okay, we shall see.
And I actually did something that I wouldn't usually do at home. I would make a different decision, but must be the next hand. Yes. Right, I've got ace-king, and I'm preparing to take it down with my ace-king, which is actually my best hand of the tournament so far.
All right, so the king's has only got to 540.
So the king's all in. Elsa Cat decides to go all in.
Okay, well...
So now I'm thinking, right, at home, without a doubt, I will call this and hope to double up and go on to win the tournament. Because I'm here, because I'm against the other poker pros and getting in the money is really going to help my cause, one of these is going... Well, if Bulgarian loses, he's going out.
Right.
So I folded.
Yeah, it's a tough decision. It's a tough decision. I would say that's probably slightly the right decision.
I mean, as it turns out, I wouldn't have hit.
No, in
and
fact,
I would have gone out.
Yeah, you would have been knocked out by Elsa Karat.
Yeah.
Yeah, although you did have more chips than the other guy, so...
But I didn't have more than Elsa Cat.
No, but you would have, I think, I'm not sure how it works on this software, but you would have claimed 3rd prize.
Oh, would I?
More than likely, because the other guy, you had more chips than the other guy. But I think this software, I've got a strange feeling this software actually splits 3rd prize when 2 people go out on the bubble.
Yeah, I think it does, because I think that's what happened.
Which is very unusual.
I got 3rd, I got 2nd prize or something, and Casper said I should have got 3rd or something weird, I can't remember.
Right.
So yeah, I'm in the money, and I'm thinking, woohoo, I'm in the money, this is good for my Beat the Presenter stats, so I'm pleased.
Well, so far so good. You don't seem to have made any real mistakes or anything, so you've played a pretty good game.
I can't remember what happened there, though, because one minute I had 1,700, next minute I remember having 980.
The blinds are very high, aren't they, now? So 163.20, that's
already 480. I'm like, yes, I'm all in, excellent.
Okay, so that's worked out okay.
I think I didn't go all in there. I think I just pushed the raise button, yeah, which is odd. Should have been all in, but it didn't matter anyway, they folded. So it made no difference.
So you've got a few extra chips there. Did you think about slow playing them to try and get a few more chips,
I
or not
thought
really?
about checking, but I thought at this stage of the game, if Elsa Cat's got something half decent, she'll call anyway. Now this is where it all goes wrong, because I thought I've got 660 chips left, I've got an ace, it's unlikely Hoik Balls has an ace, it's heads up, therefore I'm quite happy to go all in.
I think you've done the right thing. Yeah, no, you've done the right thing now, as far as I'm concerned. You have to call, you've got half your stack already in the pot.
I did get my 7, but it wasn't good enough.
No.
My ace didn't come.
No, that's
so I went out 3rd.
Yeah, I thought you'd done nothing wrong there, and Howick Balls had a few good hands there, didn't he? He had 9s a couple of times.
He said in the chat box, actually, says, I'm getting all your hands, Nursey.
Yeah,
I do try and talk to them, but it's difficult when you're playing and being on the telly.
So, no, I think you played a pretty good game there, so well done.
Thank you. So that's the 3rd. So I've now had a 2nd twice, a 3rd once, a 5th and an 8th.
Okay. Well, I've had 2 8s and a 6th. Or was it a 5th? Can't remember. 6th or 5th. 6th or 5th, I'm not sure.
Casper's got a full record, hasn't he?
No, he lost it the other day.
Oh, did he?
You won't say lost it, I mean he came 2nd.
Oh, he has an amazing tournament run. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Mine's gone blank.
He's just
track record. Thank you.
Just
That's
a
what I'm
lucky
looking
fish.
for.
He's just a lucky fish.
He's got an amazing tournament track record though. Even in his outside of Beat the Presenter, he does so well in tournaments. You can't knock him at all if you knew how many tournaments he wins. Don't know how he manages to do it. Need him to.
Well, Ace 4 against King 8. And Ace 4 takes it by virtue of the high card. And Elsa Cat is down to the wire, all in with a pair of 5-6. Gets his 6, needs another 6 or a 5. Diamond won't help. And too late. Queens and 10s beats 10s and 6s. So, good game from Elsa Cat. Well done to Howick.
Yeah,
had a lot of hands
did well
and played an aggressive game at the beginning, didn't they? So
I think he played a good game. Fortunately, he was on my right, so he kept raising into me.
Yeah.
We actually have an email from Hoik Balls, who's actually Dave.
Howick.
Hoik. It says in here pronounced Hoik.
Well, he needs to take the A out. I've told him.
So Dave, hello. He's from Edinburgh. Nice to meet you. Well, talk to you. He says, hi there, Michelle and Mark. Good show as always, guys. Michelle, you are really coming on to a game. I was playing position on you in Beat the Presenter tournament tonight as Hoik Ball, well, Howick Balls, pronounced Hoik. I think you played pretty well. I hope you don't think I was stealing too much. I was lucky to get some nice cards at the right time. I've only been playing online poker for about 6 months, so I imagine we're at about the same level. Yes, which we are. I've been playing for about 6, 7 months. I've learned a lot from watching Poker Night Live, and I'm sure my game now has a bit more skill to it than previously, although my luck factor seems to still play an important part. I'm sure things can only improve as I get more experience. Anyway, I just wanted to say I enjoyed the game tonight. Excuse me. Oh, and a quick question. Do you have any tips for writing good shorthand notes on players, as getting a read is so important to have that edge? I'm inclined to write things like calls a lot or tight as a duck's bottom, but perhaps there's a better way to summarise. I have to tell you, do write things like, this guy took all my chips, get him back. This guy is very chatty. Don't like this guy, he's mean. And this guy got lucky on you. And things that I shouldn't, to be fair.
I think Hoik has better examples. That's for the notes.
Does. So what do you think, Mark?
It's really, you've got to do it in a language that you can understand. That's all I can say. There's no right thing to write in there, or no wrong thing. Whatever thing that you believe will help you is something that you should write. If you think it can help you in the later part, everything you put there is fine. If you feel that it's the sort of guy that's a bit of a guy that will just keep calling all the time and call you on the turn, call you in the river to chase. Is he a guy that chases middle pins and flush draws regardless of the odds you give him? These are things that are important to know, and if they are, then keep charging him the wrong odds, and he'll keep paying you off. So just something that relates to something to your own mind, and something that you can understand in your own language. That's all.
Okay, we have an email here from Alistair in Glasgow. He says, "Hi guys, love the show. I have entered quite a lot of multi-tables and do quite well until the middle stages. How do you balance being aggressive so as not to be bullied and being reckless and getting yourself in pots that end up getting you into trouble?"
You can answer that one, Sean.
Can I? Just to be fair
Okay.
though, I haven't played any multi-table
right.
tournaments, so I'm probably not qualified.
Right. Well, the thing to realise is not to get not to get emotional about the situation. If a guy happens to be raising you 2 or 3 times in the trot, there's various things you can do. If you are 100% sure he is bullying, then the thing to do is you need to either raise or call at some point. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a big hand that you have to do it with. You can do it with, a suited connector or something that's got some prospect. You don't really want to do it with 7-2. I do know people, that will actually make a big raise with a garbage hand when they're convinced, but they're good readers of the game. They can read the game well and they know when to do it. But a lot of cases, it's a case of calling and trying to outplay the flop, and realising that sometimes when a guy is raising you, he might just happen to have a genuine hand. Sometimes I've been in a situation, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have out there, where you're on the button and you keep raising this guy's blind and you think to yourself, this guy must think I'm at it all the time. Because I keep doing it, but I've had ace-king, I've had ace-queen, I've had ace-jack, I've had pocket tens, whatever it happens to be. So realise that is a situation. The main thing is not to have any ego. If you sit down at a table with ego, then you're in big trouble at the moment you do that. So just appreciate the guy could have a hand, and if you're not sure that he has, then call him. If you're not sure, and if you want to go a step further and you've got the chips to do it, then raise him. But it is risky doing that.
Okay, well I think we've got time to head over quickly to a cash game.
Okay.
And we'll just have a quick pop over there, see what's going on.
And congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you.
That was very good. 3rd.
It's not as good as 2nd, which isn't as good as 1st.
No, but it's better than 8th.
But it's better than 8th.
Yeah.
And I've won more than I've lost at the moment.
Which is good.
Yep. I think my tournament track record is actually quite good at home as well. I think I've won more than I've lost at home. But I forgot to enable my tournament statistics, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, we can see Johan Harren there with a nice little stack. He's been building since we left him. Charwell's in a similar sort of position. I think TY's in a similar sort of position too. The writer wasn't there. Miss Chippy's increased a little. Merlin, we wasn't there, and Folly's increased a little too, on the assumption that they haven't topped up or anything. So Johan was on about 90 odd, 96 or 97 or thereabouts. He's increased it to 117, so he's added another 20 bucks, which is very nice indeed. Charwell's around the same figure. Miss Chippy's increased, I think, is on the early 50s, 52, something in that area. Folly was on around 65, I believe, as far as I can remember. So nice little increase from you guys.
By the way, I had 6 all in all. Rag queen.
I'm sorry?
6.
I didn't really want to know that.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Well, look, the case 9 has come out, which is terrible, terrible for the writer. Fortunately, all the money's already in the pot, so he can't lose unless an ace or a king comes, and Potty Dotty isn't believing it. So the writer is wondering whether that queen would have helped Potty Dotty. And, well, he's a non-believer, this Potty Dotty, so that's something I would be writing in here. Doesn't believe, likes to call with ace king all the way. So that's a donation, really, for the writer, and he's going to be pretty pleased with that. He was probably starting to get worried once that call was happening. And he was actually calling with no hand. Incredible. Well, Charwell with a 7-8 suited. I thought he might play that. He's made a little raise with it. And what's the writer going to do? He's got Queen 2 suited. Well, he's re-raised, and I really don't understand. I think the only reason he could be making this play is to take the lead in the betting, and he hasn't done that. So I don't really understand the purpose of it. What was the purpose of raising with Queen 2 suited? If you're not going to represent the ace when it came, you're not going to take the lead in the betting when the flop comes down, I just don't understand it. There was no sense in that play whatsoever. You know, I don't mind raising with Queen 2 suited. Even a minimum raise, I do mind. I don't think it's a particularly good play, but I don't mind the minimum raise if you do something with it afterwards. But just to actually check is just completely pointless. You're not going to hit anything that's worth the while. More often than not, you're just going to be donating an extra 50 cents to the other guy. Because he won't check. He will generally bet.
7-8 suited for TY there.
Yeah, I don't think...
Oof, look at that for a flop.
And there was a writer getting involved with 2-9. Well, you know, if the guys are watching this, they're going to be hovering onto this table, because if this writer keeps calling with 2-9 offsuit, then he's really is going to start donating to the rest of the table. He might not do it straight away, but he will do it if he's prepared to call with 2-9. I don't mind, you know, if he raised with 2-9, then at least he's trying to win the pot that way. But he didn't do that. So anyway, we've got Merlin, who limps in with the ace-jack. Folly says, no limps here, please. I'm going to raise. I've got the lead in the betting. If you call and you miss, I'm going to bet, and you'll have to give me the pot. And he's 100% correct. There you go. He's going to check. Folly will bet, and he says, thanks for the donation. No, he didn't bet. Strange play by Folly. He had the lead in the betting.
That's flush.
He's had it checked, and now he decides. Finally does it. He's now got a flush draw and decides that's good enough. I just wonder whether that queen, if it wasn't a heart, whether he actually would have bet regardless. I like to think he would have done. But you never know. Well, Johan making a move with the ace-9. He's in the cutoff. He's gained position on the table. Horrible call there from Potty. We've seen that he likes to call with nonsense. And he's really just following that up now. He's now got a flush draw, so there's no way he's going to be knocked off this hand. Johan will probably put out a bet here. It doesn't look like a flop that would have helped anyone, and it's a pretty good flop for ace-9. Ooh.
Hits his flush.
He hits his flush, yeah, that's unfortunate for Johan. I thought the play was right. But now he's got to ask himself, well, what's Potty calling with? Is he calling with a couple of picture cards? He's let him off the hook there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Gosh, look at that.
Seems he wanted... Well, I don't understand why it's so big. Does he think he's going to get paid off?
Well, I don't understand what that was all about. That was a pretty bad bit of play there. I've got to say, Potty, I'm sorry, that wasn't good.
No, maybe that's why
he's
he's called
Johan
Potty.
must be laughing himself silly, because he thinks, well, I could have lost a lot more in that pot, and he just let me off. I would have probably had another go at it at some point, probably on the river. So Johan gets off lightly there on that one. Lost a few chips, but could have been a lot worse.
So for a cash game, do you have to start thinking about your odds more, or is a cash game you can't do as many wild things? You're playing more conservatively, or?
No, you can play as aggressively as you want. It really depends. You know, some of the best players in the world are aggressive players. Mm-hmm. In fact, you know, generally the best players in the world are. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The best players in the world generally are aggressive players.
Who would you say is the best player in the world?
At the moment, it's probably Phil Ivey.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it does change because form changes. And what I mean by form, it's a mixture of luck and skill and timing, all combined into one. So that does change. You know, the year before, Daniel Negreanu was, you know, he won millions and millions of dollars. He couldn't put a foot wrong. And in 2005, he couldn't put a foot right.
Yeah.
So it just shows you, you know, from being the best player in the world to just a good player.
As we lost Merlin, we went all in with the nuts flush, and it didn't come.
No, it didn't. He was waiting for that ace, ace or a heart to come. Didn't pop up, so off he went. But you know, there are some very, very good players at the moment, and there's a very fine line between some of the best players in the world at the moment. Ace 2, bottom pair for the writer. Well, we've seen him make these kind of plays, haven't we? And Charwell might be, yeah, he thinks, well, I don't think you've got much of that. And I can still got a 5 to catch, an ace to catch, or a queen. Now, Charwell's trying to get him off this, and we've seen the writer, if he's calling with 2-9, then you can bank your life on it. You're not going to get rid of him that easily. If he's caught any part of the flop, he's calling you. So the thing to remember is just make sure he pays you off on the good hands when you do have a good hand. He's not someone you can really bluff, I don't think, unless he's completely missed. Anytime you can bluff, if he's caught any part of the flop, he'll pay you. So Miss Chippy with a 7-8 suited, having a little look. So that's the limp in. And what's TY going to do here? Is he going to put a bit of a squeeze on the other players here? He could do. He's got a nice hand for it. Ace 10. Or is he going to try and peel a flop and hope to hit a miracle flush? And it will be a miracle because Charles got a couple of the cards that he wants. Well, now he's in a bit of a problem situation because there's so many players out there, he can't think that his ace 10 is still winning. But his real question is, has anyone got a queen? Now, Miss Chippy's suggesting that she might have a good hand. And all Miss Chippy has got is a middle pair. But I don't think anyone can call him. TY might call to try and catch a backdoor flush and two over. He's got, well, an overcard to that. Decides not to, and I think that's sensible.
Okay, well, let's come back from that. We have an email here from Lan, aka Untitled. Very good, like that. It says, hello guys, I have been playing poker for about 2 years. I play low stakes cash games but prefer tournaments. I do really well in tournaments. I always manage to advance through the levels. However, when I get to the higher levels, I tend to make more mistakes. For example, I entered a tourney with 500 players. I made it to the final table. I had the second biggest chip stack, but I still managed to bust out in 10th place by someone who had flopped a full house, beating my trips. Do you have any advice for when you get very far in a tournament and the pressure is on?
Yeah, I think the best advice I can give you is really to pick who you go up against. You want to try and avoid going up against, if you're second chip leader or chip leader or in that sort of era, you want to avoid trying to do battles with those guys. It's okay to sort of have a little look every now and again with perhaps a suited connector or something like that, because you know that if you hit, you've got tremendous implied odds, and that's really why you're playing those kind of hands against those sort of guys, but you don't want to play it for any great portions of your stack. By the same token, you want to play against the guys that are not really low, that they have to call you of anything, but the guys are sort of middle ground, really. They're the ones you want to start bullying and pressurising, and it's all about, at that stage, it's all about pressurising the right people, the guys that won't fight back, the guys that are trying to make it into the money, and you just need to gain a sense of that. Who are the guys that are waiting to get into the money, and who are the guys that are prepared to take risks because they're short-stacked, and who are the big chip leaders? So that's going to be pretty obvious. So that's what my advice generally on that subject would be.
Okay, well, do remember, if you have any questions, you can text them into us. The text number is 62211, or you can email, that's poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, or you can have your say, 0906 200 70 80, and your message will be read out live on air. Okay, well, we're going to go to Nick Sheremetter for the last time for the evening, and then we'll be taking a break, and then we'll be back for our final table of the MTT. So do make sure you catch that a bit later. Well, I'm delighted to have Nick Sheremetter from Poker Europa magazine back on the line. Hiya, Nick.
Good evening again, Michelle.
It's lovely to talk to you so much tonight. I was actually going to ask you a bit about your poker play and whether you've been up to much recently.
The most recent visit I made was to Vienna to play in the Concord, what used to be World Series of Poker Trial.
Yeah.
Didn't do any good, as I said to you. But the disappointing thing, I suppose, was normally I used to go to Vienna and be able to jump into any cash game I liked in about 15 seconds. But one of the strange things happening on the scene at the moment, although the numbers for tournaments are up as a result of internet involvement and satellites and so on and so forth, the number of cash games and the variety of cash games seems to be on the decline. And some of the other operators who run tournaments elsewhere have actually confirmed this to me. I did an editorial about it, and they said you're absolutely right. I think it's because the internet players tend not to have the same sort of bankroll as the travelling cash players. The few that do, the sort of strange thing about it is they'll plonk down their laptops in a sort of wireless zone, and they'd rather play on the internet than sit down in a cash game at a casino, which is a bit strange, really. That's what they do.
Yeah, a lot of I heard that a lot of players were sitting in the lobby in the Bahamas too, and it was like a sea of laptops apparently.
Yep, that's absolutely right. But it doesn't do the house any good, because obviously when they've got 200 or 300 people in the room, it would be nice of them if a few of them played in the cash games, because they've got to make some money somehow.
Yeah, yeah. What about? Tell me something. You've being that your magazine is based for poker players around Europe. What are the? You've obviously got your pulse on terms of who the good players are in Europe at the moment. Who would you currently rate as sort of some of the top European players at the moment?
I still think that the older established players hold sway, although with a lot of new faces around. Some of them get lucky to get where they are. I mean, to me, Marcel's the Rolls Royce. Devilfish seems to have lost his hunger a bit. Mickey Wernick, who is in Vienna, he finished top of the European rankings in 2005, and we had a bit of a chat, and he was in Vienna. He was dead chuffed to get some points early in the season, so he's really cooking. I quite rate the guy who actually won in Austria, this fellow Ziggy Stockinger. Although an absolutely amazing player who was runner-up to him is a guy called Jonathan Plenz from Canada. He was making his first appearance. Now, what happened to me in Vienna was I happened to know the company which was televising it. They're an Austrian company.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as I walked in the door, they said, "Oh, great, you're here." I said, "Oh, yeah, nice to see you." And they said, "Well, if you get knocked out, would I do the co-commentary?" Okay. So anyway, I got knocked out, so that's the job I had. And it's quite interesting.
Did you do that on purpose, Nick?
Pardon?
You can tell everyone that you did that on purpose.
No. Hey, listen, I didn't ask for the job. But the fascinating thing about it was, number one, we do it live, okay? So we were propped up behind a mic for about 9 hours, and we see the whole pattern of the game. Now, this guy, Jonathan Plenz, played his brains out. And he really played so well. I don't know whether sometimes it was like he could see the other guy's cards, and he was forcing other people to pass the better hands. I mean, he increased his stack by about 60-70% in about half an hour.
What was his name?
Jonathan Plenz.
Oh, we'll have to watch out for him.
Yeah.
He is very hot indeed.
What about Patrick Antonius, who's cleaning up on the cash games at the moment?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know Patrick that well, but his results speak for themselves.
Yeah. I was just going to say that there was an interesting thing on Daniel Negreanu's blog where he said Daniel played him and lost $150,000 to him. And he said, at the end of it, he said, do you know what? I think that Patrick Antonius might well be a better player than me.
Wow.
And he said, not often you hear something like that.
No. Well, listen,
Well,
Nick, that's all we've got time for, I'm afraid, today. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us.
Okay, it's a pleasure, darling.
And no doubt we'll talk to you again in the future.
Okay.
We'd love
Good
to have
night
you
to all
back
in the
on.
Poker Village, babes.
You too. Take care,
Okay,
Nick.
bye.
Bye. And we'll see you after the break when we return. Good evening and welcome back to Poker Night Live. It's not evening anymore, is it? It's morning.
It is morning.
Yes, good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Michelle.
Okay, well, I've got an email here from Chaz. He says, "Hi guys, hi Michelle. I've been playing around about the same time as you have. I started in late July last year and have my first live casino tourney coming up on the 5th of next month. There are 80 runners and it's a £50 freeze out with an added £1,000 to the prize pool added by my main poker server, thus making the total prize pool of £5,000 and the top 8 getting paid. We get 3,500 starting chips. The blinds are starting at 25.50 and they will double up every 20 minutes. Do you have any advice for me, as it's going to be my first time in a casino and I've only been playing live about 5 months and I'm sure there's going to be some pros in the tourney." Let me see, is it your first live casino game? So very, very scary. To be fair, when I had my first live game, it was the tournament, the all-female poker tournament I played in, and I was very, very scared and nervous. And you do make different decisions. For some reason, you do look at things differently. So my advice for playing live for the first time is try and play as you would on the net. I mean, I know it's different, isn't it, Mark?
It is,
but
yeah.
I think you do. I certainly did. I played, I mean, it was going back 3 months now. But one, I was very nervous. Two, I had a lot of very easy tells. Now, this is very important, actually, because luckily, I had somebody with me. He was watching. And when we had our first break, he came up to me and said, "Michelle, every time you're going to fold your cards, you put your hands to your cards. And this is pre-flop. And every time you're going to bet, you put your hands to your chips." And this is also after the flop when people are betting. So before you've done it, that's what you do. And it's just a huge tell. You know, people with eyesight are going to be able to see that straight away. So all these things you have to take into consideration, don't you, when playing live?
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's difficult with sort of body tells because, you know, you gain that with experience and you tend to try and avoid it. I mean, the thing I would say, really, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you, if it's your first tourney and you're playing it on the 5th, did he say the 5th?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So if you're playing it on the 5th, it means you've got about 2 or 3 weeks to go. What I would suggest is play a small tournament in a local casino if you can. I mean, you live, but in Luton, for example, they do on a Sunday, they do a £5 rebuy tournament, so you can play in that. And if you really want to try and make that your second tournament or third tournament if you can, that way, that kind of extra experience that you gain will actually help you and calm your nerves a little bit when you do come to play you know, that other tournament, which is obviously a lot bigger. So that would be my advice. The main thing is before you do any betting or calling or any movement of your chips, always announce what your intentions are and announce what the total bet will be. So if you're going to raise to 400, say, I make it 400, I make it 800, I make it 200, whatever it happens to be. And that's really the only thing I can say. You know, just enjoy it, really. But it'll be much better to try and make it your second or third tournament rather than your first one. You want to just calm the nerves by hitting that first one. I think you'll find you'll play a lot better as well. And
also, Chaz, make a point when it's your turn to stop and quickly think, because you've got time to think. So I found that when I was doing it, I was suddenly panicking because it was my going, oh my God, I've got to make a decision, everyone's looking at me and I haven't got time, and do something stupid. So make sure you sit and think, forget about all them, what's going on here? He's got that, he's done that, so it's my turn, what am I going to do? And really, that's probably my best advice. That's the most important thing I could say, because when I found it in my first live game, I panicked when it got to my go, and I thought, everyone's staring at me, I've got to make a decision quickly, and then I'd do something wrong. So make sure you look, and I wasn't taking any notice of what was going on, I was just only looking at my cards, and so do that, take your time and stop and think about the situation, and then make your move. But it is really nerve-wracking when you're... Can you remember back to your first live tournament?
Yeah, pretty much. The first tournament I played live was just at the local casino. It was just a £20 rebuy. The first big one I played in was a £500, which I'd won through a satellite at the Vic. And, you know, and that for me was my first real big tournament. I didn't, I got sort of halfway or something, but it was, yeah, it was an interesting sort of tournament. So, but I'd say it's much easier if you've had a couple of goes at it beforehand. You'll find it'll calm your nerves and it'll be a lot easier.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Chaz. Please do let us know how you get on with that as
absolutely.
well. We'd like to know.
Yeah, definitely. Please let us know.
Okay, do remember if you have any questions, you want to get them in before the end of the show, you can text 62211 is the text number. It's 4 for £1. You can also email if you would like, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Do remember to have your say. 0906 200 7080. Right, we're going to head to the final table of our multi-table tournament. Exciting stuff.
Excellent. Let's have a look. Okay, well, we're down to 4 players now, and quite interesting situation. Let's have a look at who's done what in the last 20 places or so. Well, we've got, you might have seen Golf Mad Chef earlier. He finished up with 17th position and $24 for his efforts. We also had a little look at, I think, What a Bluff. $24.48, 13th. Muscle Bug was someone that we'd seen, I believe. 10th place, $34. Girls Can Play, interesting name. 7th place, $95.20. T Waits was in 6th place. We saw quite a bit of T Waits. He came 6th with 122. And Rackman, interesting. Rackman had also just playing on the same table as T Waits, and he came up 5th with 163. Those two guys had a lot of chips between them. And now we're down to the last 4, so let's see what happens.
Very exciting end of a multi-table tournament. Quite a lot of money difference in these 4 places.
There is. Just to give you an idea, Michelle, first place will actually get $748. Second will get $476. Third, 312, and fourth, 217. So yeah, there is a big difference. Even between first and second, there's nearly $200 difference. So sorry, there's nearly $300 difference. So just under $300, and it's a nice prize if you can get that first prize. For a $10, you can win $750. So it's excellent.
Good return. Well, Lisa very much in front here, and then Doe, and then Nagu, and then Nowitzki.
Yep, Lisa in first at the moment, Doe San in second, and Nagu in third, and Nowitzki in fourth. Got the blinds of 4,000 and 8,000. So no one is in really desperate measures at the moment. Nowitzki can still see a lot of hands for the amount of blinds that he can cope with. So I wouldn't be worrying too much if I was in his position at this stage. There's no rush for him to go out on a limb. Dosan takes that one down.
So there's a lot of play yet to be had between these players, as the blinds are only 4,000, 8,000.
Yeah, there is indeed. An 8 required for Lisa, or a club. At the moment, Dosan's got the advantage. And, well, there's the 10. So Lisa's hit one of those overcards. And Lisa believes that that's the best hand. And Dosan might believe that he's got the best hand with King High. Will he call for 8,000? That's a good value bet there by Lisa. And
Wow.
Well, and he tried to get Lisa off the hand. And I think if Dosan thought he had the best hand, it was just worthy of a call.
He did only have a high, though.
Yeah, yeah. But that board looked pretty unscary, really. So he was probably wondering what Lisa could be betting out there with. And it worked out quite well for Lisa. That was a good play by Lisa. Value betting at the end and getting Dosan. Not only that, getting Dosan to put a little bluff out. Well, Lisa's got no hand this time. And Dosan has made the bet small enough that Lisa might try and go over the top. Let's see if Lisa does that. But she's got such a bad hand, she probably doesn't want any part of it.
Is it worth it with a 9-5?
Thinking about it, thinking whether Dosan could be on tilt from a previous hand. No. So Dosan doesn't get much out of that, yeah. He'll be disappointed with that, hoping that Lisa would have tried something there. She thought about it, didn't she? She did think about it with that 9-5, thinking whether Dosan could be making a move and whether it was worth re-raising him. And Nagu, happy to win with his ace-5, I'm sure, without any contest. Buys him another round. And Nagu, I'm sure, will be raising it here. What will he be doing? Well, he's not screwing around. He's actually re-raised the whole thing. And to be honest, I don't really mind that play. The simple reason that he doesn't want a caller, and he doesn't want Dosan to re-raise him, because then he can't call. So does he want to commit a third or more of his stack and then having to throw away the rest of it with the blinds at 4-8? So I think that was probably the best move he could have done. Certainly the half re-raise is not much, or a third of the pot is not much good here at this stage, I don't think. Just risking too many chips to throw away if you get re-raised.
Well, Fours take it down that time. Nice bet.
Yep, Nowitzki still in last, and Nagu still one from last, and Dosan in second. But Lisa's the one flying at the moment. But we've seen before in these multi-table tournaments that these situations can turn. With the blinds are still fairly high, which means that there is going to be a lot of money in the pot every time that they decide to take a flop, regardless whether there's any raising or not going on. And Nowitzki is betting out, trying to say, well, I'll take a chance that he wouldn't check that flop, and he's dead right. And that's a good bet by Nowitzki. Very good bet indeed. Well done.
Now we have an ace-jack out for Nowitzki. Best hand out.
Curious that he's only made it 16, really.
You would have raised it up a bit more there?
I think so, yeah. Was he just giving Lisa, if she's got 8-9 suited, you know, you're saying to Lisa, please call me. And at the end of the day, he's only got ace-jack. So it's not a huge hand. And, you know, you're likely to miss the flop, and then you just don't know where you are anymore. But, moving on, this could be interesting. Well, Lisa's folded the ace-queen.
Wow. On the dealer button.
Very strange play there. I don't understand that, really. There was a limper in early position, so maybe Lisa thought some reason that Dosan had limped in with a big hand.
Or she maybe pressed the wrong button.
That's possible, I doubt it, but that's possible. Very strange. Dosan takes another one. That was an unusual play by ace-queen, with ace-queen by Lisa. I don't understand why she would have done that. Four-handed, that's a huge hand. Nowitzki is saying that I've got ace-jack. I think that's pretty good. And he's making some inroads into Lisa's chip lead. So this does go up and down like a yo-yo at this stage. And it will continue to do so while the blinds are high. And of course, they're only going to increase. They go up to 5,000, 10,000 in not too long.
So the blinds are well worth stealing.
Yeah, 12,000 in the pot before you even start. Ace-7 for Dosan. He says, I think my ace-7 is best. I'm going to bet. And on that occasion, he was right. Lisa folds. Nowitzki folds. What's Nagu going to do? He probably likes his king-9. No. Well, he didn't want to bet there. He just let Dosan, who must think it's his lucky day with 9-2.
Wow, re-raise with the sevens.
Yep, good play there by Dosan. Raising from the small blind. And Nowitzki gets a walk. Ace-5 for Dosan. I think I'll probably fold that, yeah. Lisa with king-5. Now, this will be interesting, isn't it? Because she folded ace-queen. All right, it was one position earlier, but you're only talking about four-handed, three-handed. It makes not that much difference. And Well, that was strong play by Nagu. He saw that call as a weak play by Lisa, and lucky for him, it was a weak play because he committed all his chips on that ace rag there. So, well, things are evening out now, Michelle. They've all got similar chip stacks.
They're very close, aren't they?
Yeah, Lisa has a slight advantage, but not much more now that she's put that big blind in. And Nowitzki is going for the jugular. He decided that King 9 is good enough to win. And he says, well, look, if I'm going to keep raising or going to keep folding, I'm just going to keep doing it. And any kind of hand, any kind of playable hand, I think we'll start seeing Nowitzki do it by the looks of it.
I mean, what's a good strategy to undertake? I mean, if you're all even and it's the end stages of a multi-table tournament, you can see it two ways. You can sit back, let the others fight it out. You can get aggressive, just play the big hands, try to get busy.
Well, you've got to look at the players around you. And if you've noticed, like I think we have here, that the players are generally pretty passive, then I think, you know, betting, you know, raising with the hands you want to play is not a bad option. You know, they all realise that there's a big difference between fourth and first. So this is why a lot of them are playing passively. They're trying to sort of sneak into the money. And we can see that Nowitzki is saying, you're not sneaking in, I'm going to take whatever I can. And he looks, you know, beforehand, not too long ago, he was in fourth place. Now he's chip leader.
And he's been aggressive, which has helped his...
Yeah, and Lisa made one mistake earlier, and it was really the mental state that she is in. To throw away ace-queen four-handed is not just the right play. You just can't afford to throw away those hands. Well, up and down for Dosan, who will probably come out betting. It's cheap enough for Lisa to call, but decided not to. And you might think, well, why would Lisa want to call there? Well, you're looking to call to either take it away on the turn or see if you can hit some kind of backdoor straight on Dosan. Wasn't going to be that easy with the up and down straight draw for Dosan, anyway.
All right, what does Nowitzki do? A re-raise?
Well, look, they've all got something. Ace 9. I think we're going to see raise, re-raise, and re-raise again. Now, Lisa's played, yeah, call.
Oh, just called. Now, that's a lovely flop for a pair of tens.
Yeah, this could be the beginning of the end for Dosan, I think. That's excellent flop. Dosan thinks he's ahead. He's going to get re-raised now by Nowitzki. He's pushing all in, yeah. And Dosan thinks he's got the best hand. Well, look, that's
6, 7,
a straight.
8, 9, 10.
Yeah, it's all over. And Nowitzki didn't need that.
Dosan goes out fourth.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there. He was fortunate that, I say unfortunate, he was quite well played by Nowitzki. I'm not sure whether he slow played his tens or whether he actually wasn't sure quite where he was in the hand pre-flop. But he only flat called the 20,000 raise by Dosan, and he got paid off handsomely because he played the flop with it. So it just shows you. He could have re-raised there and just taken the 40,000. Instead, he didn't take it, and he got, well, probably about 100,000 extra for his troubles. So a nice play there by Nowitzki. Worked out very nicely indeed for him.
Yes, he's he can sit back a bit now, can't he? Or he can bully, or...
Yeah.
Doesn't need to play any silly hands, does he?
No, and he took a bit of a risk, didn't he? Because he actually checked a 9-high flop, hoping that Dosan would bet out because he had the lead in the betting. So he took a little bit of a risk because, of course, if Dosan decided to check and an overcard came to those tens, he wouldn't know where he was. But he decided to check, and it worked out very nicely, and Dosan obliged by betting. He did have top pair anyway. Been interesting to see whether Dosan would have bet out with nothing there in that situation. I guess he probably would. Ace 5 for Lisa. Decides that's good enough to steal, and Nowitzki in a very strong position now. So Dosan goes out in fourth. He's earned himself $217. Very nice return for your $10. Well done, Dosan. This event started with 272 players. We're down to the final 3, and you're watching the last phases of our multi-table tournament. Don't forget, you've got a short time still to phone in or email in or even text in. 62211 is the text number. There it is on your screen. poker@PokerNightLive is the email.co.uk. And have your say. I'm not sure we'll get it out tonight if you do have your say, but it's 0906 200 70 80. Well, Lisa's pushed all in, and Nowitzki says, yes, I will have that. Thank you very much.
Wow,
And,
now we're down to 2.
Down to 2 indeed. So Lisa played a good game there, held a chip lead for a good portion of that. Just couldn't follow it through, and I think she had to state, as I said, when she threw away that ace-queen, the writing was on the wall for me. But anyway, she's done very well, came in third. She picks up $312, and it's looking pretty good for Lisa. Not bad for a $10 return. Let's see how Nowitzki fares out. It's looking even better for him. Five, 6, 7, 9. 4, 5, 6, 7. Nowitzki will bet out. He's got a flush draw. He's got the up and down straight draw.
So he's got quite a lot of outs.
He's got loads of outs, yeah. I would have liked to seen a bigger bet there. I think it was a bit of a weak bet. He didn't want to pop build there. He wanted to take it down there and then, because he was still not favourite to hit that board. I'm not sure what Nagano had there, but he wasn't, Nagu rather, wasn't favourite to make his straight or flush. About 2 to 1. Well, trip queens
to 2
is
pair.
better than 2 pair. The 7 doesn't help at the end because it's kings and queens anyway.
Yep.
So trip queens is looking good. So Nagu takes a stack of chips from Nowitzki, and it's coming up to even Stevens.
Flush draw.
Yeah, and up and down straight draw, and he's hit a straight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And lucky for Nowitzki, he didn't hit anything on the end. Otherwise, Nagu would have coined a few more chips out of him. Well, Nowitzki has been a bit flustered there, I think, because he had a nice chip lead on Nagu, and it's all gone away. Now, he's now, well, that's worked out okay for him. Now, can he prize any chips out of Nagu? Nagu may decide that his ace-king is best, but he decides against it, and Nowitzki recaptures the chip lead. Well done, Nowitzki. Doesn't want to play queen 2, queen rag, as Mish will call them.
Queen rag. 6 of them. That's what I had. 6 queen rags.
Some people might think you were lucky to get 6. They're thinking, well, it's all right for you. You got 6 queen rags. I got 9 rags half the time. So king 4, this is likely to be a split pot.
Both got
In fact, it is a split pot already.
Yeah, because 4 and 2 are undercards.
Yep, absolutely. They're
That's
undercards.
5 cards
Only a 4 or 2 would have made any difference on the end there, giving the other one of them 2 pair. Well, Jack Queen again for Nowitzki. And he wrestles a big blind out of Nagu's. Sorry, the small blind out of Nagu's hand. No, big blind. Sorry, what was that? In fact, they're reversed on here, aren't they? The oh no, on the multi-table tournament, they've actually got it the right way around. The small blind is actually. No, they haven't. They've got it the other way around, the wrong way around again. So small blind is actually the non-dealer, and a big blind is actually the dealer. Normally in a multi-table tourney, when you're playing live or anywhere else, it's usually the other way around. The small blind will be the dealer button, and the big blind will be your opposite number, which means that the button on the first round of betting has always got to act first. Well,
ooh, unfortunately for him, Nowitzki had a 4-7.
yeah, he was never going to call with that. 4-7, no prospects, any kind of raise. Well, look, it's happened again. Ace-Queen, this time against Nagu's 4-7. Looks a bit more attractive for Nagu because it's suited, but it's still a pretty nasty hand. And if Brian Wilson is watching this, I'm sorry, Brian, but yes, I do think that 4-7 is a horrible hand. Brian Wilson is the winner of the 5,000 pot limit tournament at the World Series last year.
Nice.
Fairly new player to the game and came in straight away and took down a bracelet.
Quite like them bracelets. I wouldn't mind getting me one of those. What do you reckon of my possibilities, Mark?
I think they're as good as any. go in for that horse tournament. It's only $50,000 to enter.
Oh, only?
You can play a $5,000 sit and go.
I wish.
Oh, look at that, sit that straight. And Nowitzki is starting to take command of this now. Another 4-7 appears. And this time, Nagu's got ace-king. Well, every time someone's had 4-7, the other guy's had a monster.
Yeah, that's not what you want.
So the reason I mentioned it is that happens to be Brian Wilson's favourite hand at 4-7.
Really?
Yeah, he'll play it. He'll raise with it every time. If he gets it, he never lets it down. He'll never not raise with it, regardless what the situation is.
Wouldn't you rather have aces or kings? Or ace-king?
That's a question only Brian can answer. Well, king is leading at the moment, and it's still leading, and as long as he stays in this pot, he'll win this one down. Nagu, the only way he can win it is by bluffing, and he decides not to put out a bet out there. So Nowitzki goes from strength to strength. Now got a commanding chip lead. He's got more than 2 times Nagu's stack, and he won't be investing anything with this hand, 2-9.
Ooh.
Nagu taking down the big blind. Says thank you. It's all a small blind in that case.
See, look again.
Yeah,
he's going to get
a
small hand.
He's going to get raised though. Yeah, you see, the problem with what Nagu is doing is that he's not maximising his big hands. So when he hits a big hand, he's just pushing all in, and he's giving no chance to Nowitzki to catch any part of a hand. Now, it's risky, but I think he needs to take risks. He's, you know, he's behind at the moment, and he needs to try and accumulate chips. And the only way he's going to do that is by taking 1 or 2 more risks than Nowitzki, if everything, you know, bears out to be even. You see, he's taking a bit of a bigger risk with ace-queen. I'd rather take the bigger risk with the queens, to be honest. It's more likely to still be the winning hand after the flop. You know, by virtue, without you having to bluff at it. Well, Jack 3, Nowitzki bet his bottom pair.
Jack 7, 6, 2. We need 2 monster hands here. So it can get a bit exciting. 10, 6 and 5, 9 isn't what I was looking for. Although saying that, they've both got a bit of the flop.
Yep, 2 pair now
for
Nowitzki, so he feels pretty good about that. And, well, that was an inspired fold with a 5-9 there. Had 3rd pair, mind you, so but still a good fold. Well, Nowitzki increasing and increasing. He's really putting the pressure on, is Nowitzki. He's not letting him go. And we could see it go here. Oh, look at that. It's worked out brilliantly for Nagu. And he has to call. And, well, we're back to Nagu taking the lead. Wow, he's wrestled that back. And Nowitzki is scratching his head thinking, gosh, what a turn card that was. What do I have to do to beat this guy? Look at this. They got both the same hand. And Nagu's quite pleased with his little stack there, so he's not going to take any risks with 3-6. Second place in this tournament gets $476. Not as good as first place, though, who gets $748. So a nice big increase. $272, I believe, is the difference in prize money. So, yep, $272. So, pretty impressive stuff for these 2 guys. They've battled their way through 272 entrants. They're the last 2 standing. So, they deserve a good pat on the back for some excellent poker being played.
Do you think it's a good idea for people to practice their heads-up poker? Because you can play heads-up on most sites, can't you? Choose to sit down.
Yeah. It depends. If the site that you're playing on allows you to have a good game of heads-up without the blinds going up too high, then yes. If the blinds go up high very quickly, then I'd say it's just a waste of time.
So it's a bit more of a crapshoot.
Yeah, because you want to play heads-up when the blinds have got, you know, they mean something. When the blinds aren't such a big event in terms of the stacks. So, oh, look at that. He's wrestled it back again. So this time he's got the chip lead now. Don't know quite how he did that. I think he must have missed a hand or 2, but King 3 for Nowitzki. And he's hit the hand on the end. Nagu's going to probably put out a little value bet, trying to see if he can get Nowitzki to call. Can't call. And a bit risky there for Nagu, I think, with 4 clubs out there. I'm not sure I would have fancied putting a value bet there. He might call him with a 2 of clubs to say, well, I've got a flush, let's see if you've got a club in your hand. Well, interesting hand again. And this time he's bet him out of it. And Agu's trying to get double up here. Pair of 8s, I can understand that. It's a hand you don't want to see a flop with. And this time he's not taking any chances, pushing all in with the ace-queen. And he's not going to like this too much, but he does like the fact that Nowitzki passed to him, so he's quite happy about that. Well, none of these players are giving each other an inch. Well, this could be it. And he may well call here. He has, and that's a...
Ooh, look at that, full house.
We're going to see a 5 on the end.
Five!
Well, but the king, that's no good, because kings full of 7s beats 5s full of kings. So that 5 didn't make any difference on the end there. He was drawing dead by the turn. Yeah, as you can see, 2 full houses. He hit his full house on the turn. So a king's full of 7s beats 5s full. So Nagu wrestles the lead back, and now it's Nowitzki's turn to see if he can grind out some chips. This really has been topsy-turvy. It just shows you it's anyone's game. Nagu's been on the back foot for the better part of it, for this heads-up tournament, but for this heads-up battle. But now he's looking pretty good. King 6, and Nowitzki's going to say, you're not checking twice. You check twice to me, I'm going to bet, I'm going to take this pot down, and he does. Well done, good bet there by Nowitzki.
Just while we're watching this, ooh, 2 diamonds, and Gareth has texted in saying, can you please recommend how many sit and goes I need to record to reliably estimate my expected return on investment?
Ooh, how many sit and goes do you need to record to give you a proper return on investment? I would say to get an accurate figure, you would probably need to play 100.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think you need to play about 100 sit and goes to give you, you know, you could say that it could be more than that, but I think 100 you'd get a fairly close idea.
Yeah?
I think so, yeah. I think anything less than that is a bit too small. So, yeah, once you've played 100 sit and goes, that should give you an indication. It won't be, you know, it's about the earliest you could do it. One or two of the other presenters might think, commentators might think that's a bit too early. But 100, I think, starts to give you a reasonable idea. That's a lot of sit and goes.
Ooh, it might all go in here.
It is. They both got the flush, and Nowitzki's about to double up. There's no two ways about that. He's raising. He's going to re-raise, and it's all going in. And
Nice
Nowitzki can't believe his luck.
Wow.
Well, he's wrestled it back, but it's still not a lot of difference. And Nagu's thinking, oh, gosh, I could have had him there. I could have had him if only. So it's Nowitzki's turn to put the pressure on. Pair of 6s this time.
Ooh, pair of kings. And Nowitzki, for Nowitzki, he's going to fold. It's a shame you didn't see a flop. If an ace had come out, it would have been all over.
Yeah, he might not have put it down. Heads up. So ace 8 versus king 3. He decided to fold, and Nowitzki's maintaining his lead at this stage. Not a big lead, but big enough for him. Could see a check and a call. Flush draw. If a queen of diamonds appears, I think we're going to see a lot of trouble. No, the 8 of diamonds is there. And, well, flush for Nowitzki. He tried to get something out of it, and he's not going to. Lucky for Nagu, who wasn't a queen of diamonds. That would have been a lot of trouble, possibly. He might have felt that was his best hand out there. So 10 jack, 7-3, nothing for Nagu. He's wondering whether he can bluff away at this. No, he decided just to give it up. He's played a very disciplined game, Nagu, I must admit. Very disciplined indeed. Although that doesn't show much discipline. We're going all in with the jack queen, but the blinds are starting to get quite high. It's only 10 times a big blind, so I suppose that's pretty fair, really. It's going to come down to something like ace king or ace queen against a pocket pair, I think. Well, nothing doing there. Nowitzki bets. In fact, doesn't need to bet. He's got a free roll. These guys have been battling it out now for quite a while together.
Yes, well, the rates this is going, we're not going to get to see the end.
No, I think we should see the end. I think we've still got some time.
Come on, guys.
Well, pair of fours. Raising it up. 6-10 can't call. It's another pot taken from for Nowitzki. He's going to be pleased with that. Any time he can grab another section of blinds, he's going to be happy. Nagu says, well, if you're doing it, I'm going to take one too. He raises with the Queen 10, and that's also good play. When you've got a hand you want to play in this situation, well, look, another pair of kings, but this time Nagu's got absolutely nothing. 4-10, he can't call. And he takes it straight back. Well, this is an interesting hand. Ace-2 against a pair of sevens. He's bet. Nagu folds immediately. Well, that was a good bet by Nowitzki. Bottom pair. Had the desired effect.
Sometimes in heads up, it's a pair is good enough, isn't it? Even if it's not the top pair.
Well, I think he's realised that Nagu is a fairly passive player, and he won't. You know, if he's got anything, he'll play back at him. So I think Nowitzki's got a read on him that he's unlikely to bet at him unless he's actually got something. So he's quite happy to try and nick as many pots as possible, knowing that. Now, Nowitzki knows that he can only win with a bluff. And there you are, you see. Nagu had a very poor hand. Well, I say poor hand, he had the 9 there. I think, was it the 9 he had? But I decided he didn't want any part of it. So good read there by Nowitzki. He was actually trying to get the 5, the middle pin. When he saw that he missed it, he thought, well, there's only one way I can win this pot. And it worked out okay.
So Nagu here needs to think about doubling up, doesn't he?
Yeah, this could be the hand, could it? Well, no, because Nowitzki's got nothing here, so he can't really call. And Nagu had the worst of it, but played his draw well, and Nowitzki had to give it up. Well, this is a real struggle for the blinds. This is a tremendous struggle. Really, this is quite a treat here to see a heads-up game going this long. They're both playing an excellent game. Not too much creativity. They've got the hand they usually bet. And Nowitzki is showing a bit more creativity, betting with nothing, or when he's missed. Oh, this is it, isn't it? Yeah, this is it. This is the hand. And are we going to see an ace appear? If not, we have a winner. And that winner is Nowitzki, who I thought played the better game out of the two. He played the more creative game, the more aggressive game. But taking nothing away from Nagu, he played a great game himself. I thought his discipline was first class. So,
well, to take second out of a big tournament, multi-table tournament like this isn't bad at all, is it?
No, it's very good, yeah. He took home $476 and Nowitzki took home $748. Nice. So he'll be very pleased about that. He played very well at that heads up. I thought he got a read on his player eventually and started raising all the time. Lovely.
Well done to our two multi-table winners. Good game, very enjoyable heads up tournament there. And we're going to head over to a cash game for the end of the show. Same one we were watching earlier.
Okay. Well, there we go. We've got some of our regulars on there. Tragic Trev, who took to singing for a while. And,
he did. Hilariously funny, I have to say. Got SG1 still up there.
Yeah, Loomis.
It's the end of the series though, SG.
Sharky Shark. And Johan. Look at Johan, he's going at full strength, isn't he? Full strength for Johan. He's started off with, bear in mind, this is a $50 buy-in. That's the maximum you can enter this table with. And Johan has taken his $50 and spun it up to 181. So he's in tremendous shape. So a nice increase for Johan. And I must admit, he was playing his game in a devilish fashion earlier. So very good to see. Pair of kings for Potty Dotty. A limp there from Johan. He's trying to get creative with this. He's out of... now, it's quite a big raise, but he's decided to call. I think that's a little bit extravagant there from Johan. If it was a little bit high, if it was sort of... I know it might not seem a lot, but if it was 6-7 and above, then maybe. But I think 4-5 is just a little bit on the low side. But you never know. If he hits a hand, then he's hoping that Potty might have a pair of aces that he won't be able to give up. And if he hits his hand, Johan, he knows that he's going to get the rest of Potty's money. The only thing I'd say about calling with that 4-5 is that Johan didn't actually look at Potty's stack. And the problem was that the implied odds he was getting was so poor that it wasn't really worth calling the $4 because he only had about $22 or something in front of him. So, you know, even less, I think, actually. So the call for $4 was not a strong call because even if he did hit a miracle hand, all he was going to get was a $20 that Potty Dotty had in his or her hand. So that was the only thing I think Johan played a misstep on that one.
So 25, 50 cent cash game, one up from what I actually play. I play the 15.25. Jacks for Loomis, big raise. You want to before the flop, don't you, with jacks? Quite happy to take it down.
Well, it's a bit of a big raise there, I think. Well, Martinek's the one that's raised, in fact, and Loomis has just called, so I think... Was that what happened? I didn't see the pre-flop action there, but I think either way, Loomis has won it, and there wasn't a lot of money in that pot, so... but he'll be happy to win it rather than lose it. Puts him up to... $81, so he's made a little increase.
Well, for the maximum you can buy in is 50, so if he did buy in for the maximum, then he's doing very well. And Johan there doing hugely well.
Yeah, Johan, I said we've seen him earlier, he was playing very well. Let's see if that continues. He's got a bit more competition now, I feel. There's a couple of players on there that I recognise, and I know that they're going to produce some competition for Johan. They're not going to make it too easy for him. Tragic Trev, SG and Loomis, all players that I know, all good players, so they won't make it that easy for him, which means that there's only 3 or 4 others that he might be able to try his tricks on, but let's see. So we might find that his increased stacks might start to slow down a little.
So unfortunately, no one else really has a part of this flop.
No, they've all pretty much missed, haven't they? So he's not going to get anything here. Of course, no one with a 10 jack or anything like that. No one with any better 9. So Sharky's going to take that one down.
If you hit, if you've got top pair and the flop comes out, is it usually a good thing to put out a bet?
It depends on your opponent. It depends whether you feel. First of all, it depends on what top pair, and what kicker you have. Plus, it also depends on if you believe you can get an extra bet out of your opponent. So if you feel that he's likely to bet a missed flop regardless, then you would tend to check raise. If you feel he's ballsy enough to raise you, then obviously you would just come out betting. So, but you've got to mix it up a bit. You can't just keep doing the same ABC pattern all the time because eventually they'll get a read on how you play, and before you know it, they know that you check raise with those kind of flops, and they'll know that you bet out when you've hit it in certain ways. So it's best to try and mix it up a little bit. It's
weird that Potty Dotty has called a $5 bet with a gut shot when there could be a flush.
Yeah, well, that's not a good because he's got nothing. What's he got? He's got an inside straight draw, and a bad one at that. So no, you're quite right. That was a nasty call.
Although he may be able to, as we can see, Tragic doesn't actually have the flush.
I don't think Potty will go for it, and I don't.
Oh, not now.
Yeah, and Tragic is saying, let's see if you've got a good diamond in your hand. I haven't, but let's see if you've got one.
Oh.
Well, that's a tremendous raise. I don't think
take this.
Yeah, I don't think he can call.
Well, he does. He must know something about Potty Dotty that we don't.
Well,
I think.
no. I think what happened is that he was looking at the pot and thinking, well, there's $10 to win. I'm not sure what the pot was at that point.
But with 4 diamonds, Potty Dotty only needed 1 diamond.
But at the end of the day, you've got to ask yourself that he saw Potty Dotty, I think, playing strangely. It's still a good call. Don't get me wrong, but he thought there's an element of bluffing that's potential there. There's always a potential that someone could be bluffing.
I think he would have been able to bluff me off that, actually, with a pair of 7s.
Yeah.
And 4 diamonds on the board.
Yeah, that was a good move by Potty, but Tragic Chev thought, well, it's $10 to call. I'm not sure how much was in the pot. I think there was about $40, $50 in the pot. So he's getting 5-1. Still, it was a very brave call by Tragic. I'm not sure if it's a winning call in the long run, but it worked out okay on that occasion. I can't remember what the pot odds were. And it does depend on what the pot odds were. If they were about 7-1 or above, I'd say he's just probably getting about the right pot odds. Well, he's been, let's see, SG has made it $2. Loomis has called it at $2. I don't like the call, really, from Loomis.
Bit of a raggy ace there.
Yeah, he's got a raggy ace. I don't know really what he's hoping to hit. Well, I know what he's hoping to hit. He's hoping to hit a bunch of spades, but, you know, that's not going to happen too often. And
no. Although ace.
But he has got a position on the field.
Ace 2, 3, 5 has got a gut shot.
Yeah. And it's a weak bet by SG. Will Loomis realise he does? And he's come out betting. Now, he's wondering whether he was on some kind of draw, was SG. So will Loomis put another one out there? No, he doesn't. Doesn't fire that third bullet. And SG takes it down by virtue of having the better kicker.
Well, we've got 3 aces that could be up against each other here. And it's Johan Harren that hits his 6.
Yeah, a 7 will make Loomis a straight. And I'm sure he's thinking to himself, I've got straight draw, plus I've got 2 overcards. That's a pretty good hand. Now, what will Johan do here? This is a tough one for Johan.
He calls.
He decided to call. Well,
no,
that makes him feel a little better, but he's still worried about the potential flush, the potential straight. So I think he's only going to check call here. I don't think he's going to start putting any extra money into this pot. Well, he does. He believes that he's winning, and he believes he can get a value bet out of him. Well, that is an incredible play by Johan. He's read it 100% correct. He's thinking that Loomis might be on an 8 or a 9, and that he might be able to get an extra bit of money out of him. He's read him not for the straight, because he feels that if you've got the straight, I don't think you'll let me have a free one on the end. So I think that I'm probably winning, and I'm going to try and get some value out of you. So excellent stuff. Well, doesn't let too many opportunities go, does Johan? And it was a nice play by Loomis as well, I thought. He had 2 overcards, he bet the straight draw and the overcards, and he was just unfortunate that nothing came.
Two pair of Sharky Shark. 3,
Yep.
4, 5, 6, 7. A straight for TY.
Yep, he has got that straight. And TY takes that down, and Sharky a little disappointed in that. Well, 7-8 for Loomis. He knows I'm watching him. He knows I'm watching him with that 7-8.
Oh, he's raised it.
He's raised it. Tragic Chef won't fold this. Just a case of whether he'll raise or call. And there you go.
Look
That's
at
why.
that, see?
You see, I keep
That's
telling you about
why.
7-8 is such a good hand. Well, he won't like that
house.
ace on the end there, because now it's just reduced him to the lower hand of that house. But he's just wondering, he's put a little bet out there to see what Tragic Trev does. But I don't think Loomis will fold this. So if he does get re-raise, unless it's a huge re-raise, no, he doesn't. He's
Tragic Trev looked at that bet as being a bit, just 50? You want me to
yeah.
come in?
You didn't realise that he actually had the mother of all hands. And that's well done, Loomis. Man after my own heart. So ace-queen for Loomis. Probably, I think we've got time just for one more hand. Is this it, Michelle? Or have we got...
Yes, this is it. We have hit the end of the evening mark, I'm afraid.
Okay, so we'll just have to see how this one plays out.
I think this is going to, well...
And it's all over, I think.
It's all
SG's
over.
going to fold, yeah. Well done, Loomis. Finishes on a winning note. Very nice indeed.
Well, it's been a very good evening, I think, of poker tonight. We've seen some good play, we've seen some bad play.
And we've seen Loomis there take one down with a 7-8.
We did.
I told you that 7-8 is a good hand. When will you guys believe me?
Yes, Mark. 7-8, we've got it. Well, tomorrow we've got Beat the Presenter again at 11 o'clock. We'll be watching that at 12. Do make sure you come back tomorrow, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. for some more poker fun. Mark, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for this evening.
Yeah, it's been great.
And goodbye.